You're a dick.
Yeah, it's live. Shut up.
Yeah, it's live.
Welcome to Fantasy Football, Average Joe's Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host. Go fuck yourself. Our other host, John fucking Eric Cartman Miller.
Why don't you call me Cartman? That's funny.
Why you wearing a South Park hat?
I just wore this because I had it on when I was at the gym. Never took it off.
All right, so we got the hat Rocky, John Miller, and we've got Keith's couch, and what looks like a trough. What's in your trough today?
The show started? You said you were going to wait.
What's in your trough, Piggy?
It's Chipotle, but honestly, if you do kind of get a look at it, it really does kind of look like pop.
It looks like.
Don't say it. I know what you're going to say. It's like the leftovers.
Hot garbage?
It looks like.
It looked like Travis Kelce.
Looks like Travis Kelce. No, looks like Shredders from that SNL commercial. It's just shredded mayo, lettuce and mayo.
That's it. So is Chipotle your sponsor today, Keith?
Yeah.
All right.
Sponsored by Chipotle. America runs on Dunkin', but it gets the runs from Chipotle. Just letting y'all know that right now.
Chick-fil-A's nuggets.
Joe, what's your sponsor today? Joe's sponsors are Branden Oliver?
My sponsors are Eat My Nuts and Suck My Dick.
Got it. My sponsor is, tell him, Siri.
High Point Solutions, because I have the most points this week.
That's it.
So,
Joe, you sure that you're not sponsored by Smith and Wesson?
All right. I'm sponsored by Home Depot rope and duct tape and
Wow.
and a not hydrochloric acid, whatever, like ether kind of stuff.
Hi, Shay.
See,
Hey, Shay.
you ever notice she's not threatening my life when I'm the most miserable? Go figure.
Because she loves it.
No, I just love him.
For those of you who don't know about Clarketizations, he just said that's a touchdown as it was hitting his hands. I swear to God, I'm saying that. I swear to you. I wish you could hear him.
The Clark magic bullet. Clark is the magic bullet maker. Oh, yeah. He magic bulleted that stupid fucking pass to Andre Ellington
That was a sweet pass.
For 81 fucking yards that basically ended any chance that I had of winning the week against Keith. All right, let me just start from the beginning. So
Here we go.
last week we sort of previewed. What's up, babe?
Oh my God! Defensive holding, number 3. Automatic first down.
I'm getting it. All right. So last week we previewed the Race War Week 5 edition where Keith and I were playing to be the 2 and 3 team in our division. We were both sitting there at 1 and 4. Oh wait, 1 and 3? Is this Week 5?
1 and 3.
Yeah, we're both sitting there at 1 and 3. Winner got to 2 and 3. Loser goes down to 1 and 4. And as you can tell by my fucking ornery attitude, my team.
Wait, my attitude or yours? Because I think I don't really look that happy, but you look very upset.
Yeah, I'm the ornery one tonight. You're usually the ornery one who's bitching and moaning about Shady McCoy and how bad Victor Cruz and Shady McCoy are, but somehow you managed to fucking get rid of those 2 players to some fucking moron in the fucking league. The league that I really desperately needed you not to have 2 players. So the lemonade on top of the shit fucking sundae that I've been eating all day is that I was the second highest scoring point person for about the 4th week this season. Unfortunately, on 3 of those occasions, I've played the highest point scorer of the week. So, that's sort of why I am shitting the bed as horribly as I am. And at the same time, Keith put out a pretty good game. It was basically a 70-point swing.
I think Keith is on the sidelines.
On the trade that he made this week, where he ended up trading Shady McCoy, Jordan Cameron, and Victor Cruz, who combined for a total 11.1 points, for and Jordan Cameron, was a bench tight end that this fucking moron traded for Andre Ellington, who scored 37.4 with 16 rushes for 32 yards and 4 catches for 112 yards, including an 81-yarder. And Demaryius Thomas, who had 226 yards on 8 catches, which is just a fucking mind-boggling goddamn number of fucking yards to get on catches. And he had 2 touchdowns, a 31-yarder and an 86-yarder that basically just knocked my dick so far into the dirt that I'm going to be fucking pulling fucking rocks out of my fucking scrot for a week.
He had a 71-yarder called back, too.
And he had a 71-yarder called back just to sort of fuck with him for a hot second. So, his team... Oh, and he still has a Seahawks D to go. So when it's all said and done, he's definitely going to win the week. And he is probably also up in the points race as well. Look, I'm not even that upset.
Not bitter or anything.
I have the second or third best team in my league, in my division, and I'll get into the playoffs. Hopefully, knock on wood. And when I do, no one's going to want to play my team because I've sort of been preparing my team for the second half of the season. Ben Tate came back. Dispelling all the rumors that the Crowells and the West of the world were going to sort of muddy up that backfield. Motherfucker ran 22 rush attempts for 123 yards. Ran real fucking hard, real smooth all game. Didn't finish with any setbacks. Every time that Crowell and West were in, they were shit in the fucking bed. Ben Tate, I've been fucking saying it since preseason that he's the man in fucking Cleveland, and all of the other running backs aren't ready for it. I mean, Isaiah Crowell is good, but he's not ready to do NFL man things yet.
He didn't even get that much work today.
What's up?
He didn't even get that much work in what was a really close game, too.
They put in West for one series. They went 3 and out. They put Crowell in for a couple of plays and a couple of series. He chunked up the field a little bit.
Who's that?
Crowell.
He did?
He had a couple 11 and 12-yard gains consecutively, and then
he must have.
The drive stalled out of it.
I'm gonna say he must have lost some yardage because he only finished with 19 yards.
19 yards, yeah. He had like a 10 and 11-yard So, Julio Jones, Dez Bryant, they did their thing. Julio had 105, and Dez had a touchdown. Brandon ended up Monday night ruling out Devontae Adams is 7.1 to put in Ben Cooks, who got me 7.1. So I basically spent $10 on nothing. That's sort of the breaks that you get when you're playing in Monday night rule type leagues. Matt Ryan had 316 yards and a 74-yard touchdown, one of which to Antone motherfucking Smith. When is fucking Antone Smith going to? When are they going to stop saying about Antone Smith that he deserves more playing time? And they just fucking say he's earned more playing time. Go back to the fucking Millennium fucking Falcon. And fucking go shoot Greedo and go fucking rest in your fucking carbonite.
Nah, I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. Because it's not like he didn't do anything to lose his job. Like, he actually looked fairly decent in that game.
Steven Jackson's a beast.
The thing about Steven Jackson, the thing about Antone Smith, Joe and I were kind of getting into this before we went live, was just that Antone Smith got into the game when they were like down by, I think it was like 10 points or something like that, if they were even down at that point or whatever. Known passing situations and all that kind of stuff, which just leads me to believe that Antone Smith can't pass block, and that's why S-Jax is in there. And if it's a close game, it's going to be S-Jax. You know what I mean? Like, that's the sad part about it. You know, I just don't think there's got to be something that they don't like with Antone Smith, that they're not putting him out there for 20 touches a game. You know what I mean? And when Steven Jackson gets a touchdown and puts up a decent game, like, you're not going to take that production away if you're Atlanta, you know, unless you're in a game going to be down by 21 points.
I was actually just told by our nickname guy that S-Jax is not acceptable to call him that. That's what I was told. We have a guy that's literally dedicated to nicknames here. And you can call him Steven Jackson, Han Brolo, Carbonite Man, Millennium Falcon, like whatever you want, you know. But S-Jax is not acceptable. Just throwing that out there.
S-Jax, S-Lax, X-Lax, because he's shitty. You know, there's 1,000 names for him. S-Jax or Steven Jackson is not one of them. I'm sorry. And here's the bottom line. Yeah, look. I'm sorry. You, as a GM and like a president of football operations, you sometimes need to step in and fucking be a man.
Like Jerry Jones.
Back out there a little bit and say, look, yeah, be a little Jerry Jones and be like, look, fucking start him or not. Because basically what you're doing, you need to put Steven Jackson in when you're already up 25, 28 points, where you just need the plotting 3 and 4 yards. You need to slow down the game a little bit. Literally, plays are shorter. His 4-yard, his 3 or 4 yard sort of like sweeps to the left off tackle plays take longer than fucking Antone Smith's 74-yard touchdowns. I mean, so basically, you can put Steven Jackson in the second half of the game and finish people off. He's just not a game starter. He slows a high-powered offense way too much. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I think them losing, you know, offensive linemen kind of helped Steven Jackson stay on the field that much longer, though. You know what I mean? They're not going to put him out there if he can't pass block.
Well,
you know what I mean?
This is what I'm going to do. I need to get into the fucking NFL Rewind, which is the best goddamn thing in the world, and start looking at Antone Smith's plays where he's just blocking. He's not in that many fucking plays. How do you know he can't block? I've never seen him get run over. I've never seen him be asked to block.
Right.
Just give him a fucking chance. Give him a chance. Your team is better with him than they are without him. And your
You might not even know those plays, though.
or worse, your team is not better with Steven Jackson in any fucking pass.
You know what, though? I'd actually, from the other side, I'd actually rather them just up his usage just a little bit. I mean, I don't want Antone Smith getting 20 carries and risking getting hurt. Let Steven Jackson and these take that beating. You know, with the production
dude, it doesn't matter. Give him 10 to 15 touches. He doesn't need 20 carries, but give him fucking 10 to 15 touches and put some pressure on a defense. Make a defense want to sweat a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Make a defense sweat. He's not. What's his face? Ain't making nobody fucking sweat. Steven Jackson. He's fucking garbage. So Antone Smith was had 18.5 on my bench, and I was really sort of upset because I wasn't starting him over Ben Tate. Ben Tate deserved getting a start this week on my team, and he ended up with 17.3. So it was only a 1.2 point difference. It wasn't gonna be a game breaker.
If you over Oliver, you would have been even more mad.
Now here's exactly so.
Xbox One Fantasy Player of the Week.
In, and what I said was, I was gonna start Hyde. I was gonna start Hyde against KC, but run defense isn't all that great. All of the guys I had as an option just didn't. I didn't know what was gonna do. I had Bobby Rainey, who ended up with a touchdown. But again, I didn't know what they were gonna do with him in relation to Doug Martin. And again, Doug Martin, get the fuck out of here. You're garbage. You're done. Stop. He should not be the fucking starting running back.
He's a muscle hamster, kid.
Fucking job. Get him out. What'd you say?
Muscle hamster.
Muscle hamster. That's his nickname.
Yeah, muscle hamster.
Muscle hamster is literally running in a fucking hamster cage in a hamster wheel. He's certainly not moving forward.
I heard he's trying to find Jerry Penacoli.
And in the last minute at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today, or 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, I decided, You know, I was going to give Branden Oliver a shot, and the reason why I was going to do that was, well, first off, Donald Brown is fucking garbage. Every game that he's been in, he's been averaging about 2 yards per carry. He's getting 26 fucking touches for 54 yards. I mean, that's not good. Why are you continue giving him the ball like that? And, you know, San Diego said that we're going to run the ball against the Jets, who had, I believe, like a number 3 ranked defense, run defense, number 1 overall in the league. And I figured my thought process was the Jets had to cross the country to play San Diego in San Diego, which is usually a really tough road game to play in. And I figured, you know,
Figured they couldn't score and get worn down.
I
You were right on.
Branden Oliver's talent, basically. I figured that the lack of talent from the abundance of mediocrity from Donald Brown was going to sort of show its ugly head, and then Branden Oliver was going to make use of his touches, and that's exactly what he did. You know, he caught like a nice 40, 50-yarder reception to start off, and every time he touched the ball, he's getting 4, 5, 6 yards, chunking up the field. And then, in the second half, really turned it on, scored on a 15-yard touchdown run and a 9-yard touchdown pass, ended up with 114 yards rushing for the day on 19 carries and 4 catches for 68 yards. And the Branden Oliver narrative, it happened exactly the way that I fucking said it would, where he was going to be the backup to Donald Brown for the first game or so. They're going to show that Donald Brown was fucking garbage, which is exactly what he did. The next game, Donald Brown was either going to get hurt or was going to continue being mediocre. Branden Oliver was going to keep showing more and more and more. And that's exactly what happened. Now the question is, can Branden Oliver, Wally Pipp'n, an oft-injured Ryan Mathews when he comes back, does the same narrative happen to Ryan Mathews that just happened to Donald Brown? Granted, Ryan Mathews, I think, is a much better running back than Donald Brown is.
Well, isn't he just a better version of Danny Woodhead?
Isn't who a better version of Danny Woodhead?
Branden Oliver. I mean, that's the role he's going to be in once Matthews
comes
back.
Was they were going to use Branden Oliver in a Danny Woodhead sort of capacity, and he was better than Danny Woodhead. The difference between Branden Oliver and Danny Woodhead is Danny Woodhead is Danny Woodhead, and Branden Oliver is a running back. That's the difference. If you watch the tape from Buffalo, he's a running back. He fucking he initiates contact. That's what he does. He's a runner, and he's got those sort of like setup moves on defensive players that are just gonna cause defensive players fits, for as long as he stays healthy. So he entered the league in as a Danny Woodhead, and he's going to end up being the starter, the guy, the ball carrier, the 20-plus touches on the ground and the 5 to 10-plus touches in the receiving game, like running back. I see him, with staying healthy, he's going to be a number 1 running back by the end of this year, and he will be, a top 10 running back selected in next year's draft. Guarantee it. Bank on that. Mark my words, son.
I want to add one thing real quick because I was waiting to talk, but
yeah, go.
I don't think anyone steals anyone's job in the NFL anymore. I mean, literally, it's like who can have the most running backs that are all good at this point. Like, we're not playing fantasy football or NFL, whatever, from 10 years ago where it's a running league. It's a passing league. You get 3 running backs that are good. One goes down, you pull another one in, you switch time, you switch backs, one comes out. There's no dominant running back in the league that just crushes it every week, and he's the only running back.
Le'Veon Bell, DeMarco Murray.
Right. So how many?
So you named about 2 out of 32 teams.
Well,
so
here's my point. And you're right.
And I happen to agree. Hey, AJ Green fumble.
AJ Green.
And he lateraled it on purpose.
That's juice.
Oh my God.
Is he going to score?
What the hell?
By lateral, you mean fumble? Oh, that lateral. That was sick.
Yeah,
you
that
that
lateral. What's that?
Wow.
Too far behind.
Joe's way behind.
Yeah,
I hope Ridley gets a rushing touchdown.
Yeah,
Just
hit the goddamn pause button on your shit, motherfuckers. I'm done. I'm tired of this.
Yeah. All right. Let's just move on from this game because there's nothing. It was just a Branden Oliver show. Rivers is still Rivers. The Jets stink.
No. I mean, you asked me a question about the running backs, and here's the thing. You're right. There aren't that many sort of bell cowie sort of running backs, and I believe the reason for that is it's not the systems like that are sort of dictating it. It's the lack of amazing running backs that are dictating it.
Really? I think it's a financial reason, to be honest with you.
Arian Foster's another one who, you know, he only plays when he's 100%, quote unquote, and when he plays, he's a fucking monster. And they don't give the ball to anybody else but Arian Foster unless they're giving him a break. So there's break guys, and Arian Foster's in the break guy category. Le'Veon Bell.
We got 5. I'd say 6 total running backs.
Total?
I can think of Marshawn Lynch.
Andre Ellington's the spell guy. He's right now. Andre Ellington's the man in whatchamacallit. Ben Tate was showing exactly what my point was. Ben Tate got how many carries? He got 22 carries, and how many did the other cats get? Like 3 and 4. He's the guy. He is that man.
Here's the thing, though. I think the point that he's probably making is valid because once Marshawn or DeMarco gets dinged up or something like that, or there's even a scare of it, they're going to start giving other guys more work just because they don't want to see that shit happening. It's just like Jamal Charles. He had a big game on Monday night against.
It always is. I mean,
what's that? Yeah, but that's his point. Like I don't think there's going to be those guys. There's only going to be a handful of guys that get the 25 touches, and I don't think Branden Oliver's in that category.
Who gets the 25 touches? The guys who deserve the 25 touches.
Right, but Branden Oliver's not going to be that guy. They're going to split time. I mean, even if Ryan Mathews has his job taken from him, it's going to be half his job. Branden Oliver's definitely going to earn carries from this. Don't get me wrong, but
Branden Oliver is going to. I'm telling you right now,
you're wrong.
In 2 years, Ryan Mathews will not be a San Diego fucking Charger.
Okay,
in 2 years,
but we're not talking 2 years. We're talking 8 more games.
I'm talking this year. That's all I'm saying.
We're talking eight more games of the fantasy season. You probably like, and it's like I said to you before.
Don Miller asked me what I think about the trajectory of Branden Oliver is, and what
his fantasy outlook.
Branden Oliver over the next year. Between the end of this year and the beginning of next year, Branden Oliver is going to take that job, and he's going to be the sole running back for the San Diego Chargers. Mark it fucking down.
Okay, and the rest of this season, you think he's going to do what?
This season, I think he's going to be the man for the next 2 games. If he performs, it's going to be a really big question for San Diego. And I think their head coach, McCoy, is that his name, McCoy? Offensive coordinator from Denver?
Yeah, Mike McCoy.
Mike McCoy. I think Mike McCoy is actually fucking really smart.
And he is really smart. I think he's
actually,
better.
Real quick note, his nickname is actually Sonny McCoy. Just throwing it out there.
Like, we're just both looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I got a nickname guy here that I paid for. I want to use him up for the night. Jesus.
All right. So anyway, I think Mike McCoy is a really smart guy, and I don't think that he's going to let his ego, sort of like Mike Smith, sort of get in the way of what's going on in front of his eyes. And I think he's one of those guys that wants to see his team win. And if he wants his team to win, when Ryan Mathews was in, he was not. He was part of the reason why the narrative for the San Diego Chargers running game was that it was weak this year. It was because it was weak, and the reason why it was weak was because they didn't have a guy out there that was dynamic, and they do now, for the time being.
We'll see. But what I'm going to say is, you can mark this down. You might be right for the future, but for the rest of this year, he'll split time as long as they're both healthy. If they're both healthy, they'll split time. Bottom line, I guarantee.
Well, here's the thing with that. To me, that is sort of a impossible prophecy to fulfill because
What do you mean?
Ryan Mathews is hurt right now. When he comes back, if he doesn't split time, you'll say, well, he was hurt. So,
no,
you know I'm saying? When he comes back,
Ryan Mathews will come back. That's a guarantee.
He'll come back. But what if he comes back?
When he comes back, do you think that Oliver gets more touches than him moving forward?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to say no. That's my opinion.
The reason why I say it is simply because I have the advantage of.
Did you have Branden Oliver and I have Ryan Mathews?
Well, yeah, I didn't even realize that.
It's funny because I really do have Ryan Mathews.
I know you really do, and I didn't.
I'm not saying that because I have him. I'm saying it because
you are. See, that's the thing. I think you are. And
oh my God, no way! If anything, I go against my guys.
You don't have to go against your guys this week because you've already won our game. That's why you're not.
Okay, we'll keep track. It'll still be like a little mini bet.
Yeah, I mean,
we already got the Roddy White versus Cordell, which Roddy hasn't been doing much, and neither has Cordell. So this is.
I have the advantage right now of Ryan Mathews being hurt with a knee injury, which is a big deal. A knee sprain.
No. All this mini bet is
it was a sprained MCL.
When Ryan Mathews comes back, you said Branden Oliver would have more carries. Going
touches.
When they're both right. That's right. That's all I'm saying. So if it's just a little mini bet, nothing crazy.
I think that you know what, I'm going to add mini bet to the
add it. Definitely add it. I like it. What do you think, Clark? What would you do here?
I'll go for it.
No, don't ask Clark.
Clark said he'd go for it.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask him anything that has to do with my teams. Like he
totally disagrees with you. He takes my side, so you have.
Yes. All right, so mini bet.
At this point, I think you technically win. We don't even have to wait for it to happen.
Yeah, no, he's literally he's a Ouija board. He's a human Ouija board.
Is it black?
Just say the exact opposite, and that's usually what happens.
No, that's terrible.
And
I will say this: he agreed with the shade trade that I made, and I didn't try to rhyme, but I did.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, let's go on to another.
Let's get into his trade. Let's talk about his trade.
Who? His trade? No, we already know that trade he made out on a trade for this week, and you know. All right, let's get into the trade.
We could do a quick rundown.
We'll do a quick rundown. We'll just go with all the players that are involved. Ellington obviously went off today. Demaryius Thomas obviously went off today.
He got them both.
Yeah, he got them both. But who did you give up again, Keith? You gave up Shady and who else?
I gave up Shady, I gave up Victor Cruz, and I gave up Jordan Cameron.
11.1 points.
All right, so I never thought I would say this, but I think Shady McCoy is probably for the running for like the fantasy bust of the year.
I honestly knew it was going to happen. As soon as I knew I was picking him, I should have never done it.
I mean,
good point. My stat guy that I brought in for nicknames and stats brought in an obscure stat. This is a little weird one. This is almost a little fantasy karma for you. Okay, so a couple years ago, Steven Jackson said, I'm going to break the record, blah, blah, blah. Remember, he was going to break the record for 2,000 yards, all that stuff. Had a terrible year.
Steven Jackson.
S-Lax. Hanbrolo.
Oh, Hanbrolo, okay.
Right. Well, what did Shady McCoy do this year?
Yeah, he said he was going to do
himself up, saying he's the best running back in the league, and what's he doing? Shitting the bed.
Who's the best running back in the league?
We're talking about
yes. Shady thinks he is.
Oh, you know, I think there's a lot of reasons why he's shitting the bed this year, and a lot of them have to do with him being on a not good team.
I'm very happy that he's not on my team anymore. Even if these guys didn't go off, like I know I had like a really good game by my other guys and stuff, but even if they didn't go off, I was watching his stats line and just watching the game and watching him just basically get nowhere, do nothing, dance around and fumble like
Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my God. I was waiting for like Victor Cruz to somehow get time portaled over and then to do the salsa together. I don't accept that touchdown.
Yeah, it's funny. No, but here's the thing, though. I mean, you bring up an interesting point. Like, I had said something to Joe before. I said, is it me or is it that Shady McCoy just looks a little tentative? Like he's not going north-south. He's going like east-west. He's trying to break the big play, which you see like rookie running backs do. He's doing the same shit he did at Pittsburgh.
I think
he's too worried about fucking service at PYT or whatever the fuck the place name is.
Yeah,
honestly, I think what it is that I think superstar running backs sort of have almost a what's it called?
Arrogance?
No, the ability to sort of predict the future. They can sort of see their holes before they open, and they make their moves based on the second move, not necessarily. The first move is already done. The second move that they make superstars out of. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
kind of get it.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a guy in front of them, and then there's a guy after them.
Right. He's already thinking 4 steps ahead.
They're
I got you.
Get past the second guy as well. And if the second guy as well isn't being blocked at any point, they start dancing around waiting for that second guy to get blocked, and he's never getting blocked, and that's how you get clobbered up in the NFL. And, the superstar running backs don't sort of get caught in that rut very often. This year is one of the ruts for Shady. And I think, like, Le'Veon Bell has sort of taken that his powers a little bit, because he's doing exactly what I'm talking about. If you watch some of his long runs, you can see that he's the second guy before he sets up his first pass, which causes the long run. You can see it.
He has good vision.
Yeah, you can see it from Foster, and you can see it from DeMarco Murray too. Murray and Foster are incredibly similar.
DeMarco Murray fumbles every game, though.
He fumbles every game, and I think DeMarco Murray has the best offensive line out of all the guys we just mentioned.
Oh, absolutely. They're
by far.
Yeah, the Dallas offensive line are just absolutely filthy animals. Who else has run offensive line? Obviously, Frank Gore.
Yeah, Steven Jackson would get 65 yards a game behind that line.
Frank Wolverine Gore. Ben Tate has a really, really nasty front line. Saw some crazy stat. Like, their fucking center and their tackles have played, 300 fucking consecutive games together. That's a big deal.
Definitely. Most people don't think that is, but that is a big deal.
Does anybody know what happened to Fred Jackson? I mean, sort of bouncing around, but did anybody know what happened to Fred Jackson today?
Let me look right now. I'll pull it up.
If I had to guess, and this is just strictly a guess, I think it was a knee. But it could be.
Yeah, all right. So let's get into sort of the hot days. 23 rushes for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns from Arian Foster. And conversely, Elgin Hudson also has DeMarco Murray, who had 31 yards
for a while,
for 136 yards, 56 yards receiving, and a fumble lost. He's pretty much the only fumble a week sort of running back that has no sort of worry that he's not going to be the man for that.
He gets his fumbles because he's fighting for yardage, though. It's not like he's just not holding on to the ball. You know what I mean? It's not like he's just running along.
Stop fighting for yardage if you can't stop putting the ball in the pocket.
I agree, but if you're going to put up 100 yards rushing and a touchdown every game.
But they're winning games too. If they're losing games, then he wouldn't be getting all these carries and fumbling.
Yeah, that's true. Winning is definitely a sweet elixir. But if he wasn't fumbling these balls, they'd be fucking mauling teams right now.
It says Fred Jackson suffered a minor right ankle sprain.
Oh, well, he was on the. They were fucking praying around him and shit.
Dude, he has stem cell babies at his house that he's gonna sprinkle on that shit, and he'll be out there next week running faster than he was before.
Oh, he's on the.
Shut you up with some stem cell babies, Fred.
He's on the Frank Gore stem cell baby fetus.
They said Monty Ball strained his groin pretty severely, so he's going to be out for a while. He's not going to get his job back either.
Yeah, no, his job is lost.
Wow, Monty Ball pulled his balls? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, Monty's balls were pulled.
And not in a good way.
Not in a good
had a nice touchdown today against the Rams. The Rams almost came back on the Eagles.
Let's get into that real quick, because that's the next thing I have up on the board is
Take ahead.
about the Eagles' offense. Is it just average right now?
Definitely. I mean, it's worse than average.
No. Their offense is actually above average, but average in the NFL is that's the problem.
Well, what do you mean there? Well, you think they're
above average? You think that their offense is better than most in the league?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that I can name 17 teams that don't have an offense as good as the Eagles do.
Okay, let's just say if we're going to split the league up into 32, so are they in the top 8, the top quarter of the league? Because I'm going to say no.
Okay, so stop me.
I'll list them right here.
Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit. Do they all have better offenses?
Green Bay does.
Green Bay, Chicago, I meant, not Minnesota, obviously.
Chicago does. Chicago definitely has a better offense.
Chicago, and what about Detroit?
If Calvin Johnson's healthy, yes.
Call that up right now.
They're in the same sort of window. How about their own division? Is their offense better than Dallas?
Nope.
No. Is their offense better than the Giants?
No, not the Giants' offense is going to get a little bit better.
I'd say push right now.
I'd say they're about a push, and I say that they're better than the Redskins' offense.
Well, everyone's better than the Redskins. I might put them dead last at this point.
Right. Tampa Bay's offense might be better than. Is Tampa Bay?
Who's the number 1 college team? Because I might put them above the Redskins right now.
Well, yeah,
I have a Redskins fan sitting with me.
Also, because your defense is gonna fucking eat them alive, man.
So I have 8 teams on the board.
I would put all those offenses above them.
So, can you name anyone else? Did I miss anybody?
Denver's better.
Denver's in there.
Denver's better. San Francisco's better.
Really? You think San Francisco's
Pull
offense?
up your chat box on the side so you can see what he's writing, because I don't think you have the chat box.
Got it. San Francisco's offense, I think, is better. San Diego's defense is definitely better.
San Diego, definitely better.
Yeah, these are all the teams I have in there.
Okay, here's one for you. What about KC? Is KC's defense better?
Defense or offense? We're talking about offense.
Sorry, offense.
Is Casey's offense better? No. I don't know. They have better running backs.
I'd call that a push. You know, there's going to be like
Casey's probably a push.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that the Eagles have a better off. See, Casey's run offense is way better right now. But the Eagles' passing offense is way better.
I mean, right now the Eagles' offense is just not clicking. I mean, bottom line is, even if they are above average, whatever they're doing is not working. They're not scoring offensive touchdowns.
They're better than Tennessee. They're better. Their offense is better than Pittsburgh. Their offense is better than. Is their offense better than Baltimore?
Everything else gets figured out.
Yeah. What about New Orleans?
I'd take New Orleans. I'm an Eagles fan. If you gave me New Orleans offense first, Eagles offense, even though New Orleans isn't doing that well, I'd still take New Orleans over them. Honestly,
you take Drew Brees, which would make you a smarter.
You're right. I would take Drew Brees.
You know what I mean? I'm not sure that you would take.
So we're up to 10. We're up to 10 teams right now.
What's that?
We're up to 10 teams right now.
And we haven't really.
Oh wait, actually 11, because I didn't even put Green Bay in there.
Keep going through. It's going to be close. I think that they're in the bottom half of the league as far as.
So this is what I have. I have Chicago. Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, Giants, Denver, San Diego, Pittsburgh, Indy, San Francisco, New Orleans, and Green Bay.
What about Detroit?
Okay, wait. Let's do the AFC East. Are they better than the Bills? Yes. Are they better than New England? Yes. Are they better than New Jersey? Yes.
They're better than Miami?
I don't think they're better than Miami right now.
Me either.
I would put Miami. Yeah, but they're better than the rest of them, definitely.
They're better than the other three, though, I think. What else do we got?
You can just go through the rest of the AFC.
I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, they're better than Houston's offense. They're better than Tennessee's offense. They're better than Jaguars' offense.
Are they better than Houston, though? You think?
Yeah, Houston's offense.
Who?
Yeah.
I don't know. Houston's offense, I don't know, man. It's like
they're better
I
than
call it a push.
Houston's offense consists of, right now, DeAndre Hopkins and Arian Foster.
You know what? They're almost exactly like Houston.
That's what I'm saying. Like they really are like a push kind of. But I guess
below average quarterback. They have a running back that's pretty good, and decent receivers.
Yeah. Better in Carolina's offense right now. Is that what you said, Carolina?
Yeah.
No, I think they're better in Carolina.
I think they're better in Carolina's offense.
What about Baltimore?
Yeah, they're better in Baltimore.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Atlanta?
No.
I'm just going through all the games, all the teams.
Yeah,
St. Louis, do we even talk about them?
They're not, obviously.
All right, so let's go through that. So we got St. Louis, San Fran, Seattle, and Arizona.
Are they better than Seattle?
I'll take all four of those.
They're not better. They might be better in Arizona with, QB9 starting.
That's true, but I mean, realistically, if they have a QB in there, Arizona's above them for sure. Arizona's a better team than them, don't you think?
You think Arizona's offense is better than Philly?
I mean, with the like he said, with the backup quarterback from the practice squad, no, but with one of their starters, probably.
Like a city here.
Well, I mean, they were able to score on the 49ers, and with their backup quarterback, and the Eagles couldn't do anything against that Niners team.
We got San Diego in there, obviously, right? They're better.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw Arizona in there.
What about Seattle? Seattle's got to have a better offense than the Eagles. Right?
No, Seattle doesn't really play offense. No,
you
they
don't
just.
think that Seattle's offense is better than the Eagles right now, though, from what you've seen of it?
Seattle's offense is better than the Eagles. I'll take Seattle's offense.
Definitely.
Really?
Right now, from what you've
And I'll
seen.
tell you why. And I'll give you 2 reasons. 4 words: Marshall Lynch, Russell Wolf. You don't really, and then you just throw in Percy Harvin to catch a couple of runs and this, that, and the other.
I'll buy it.
Yeah, I'm giving Seattle.
So let's just do the count. So how many teams do we have? We have
They're right
one.
there. They're right on the cusp. They're the 16th team.
7, 8. Yeah, they're the 16th team, which is middle of the pack, which is average.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, they're average.
All that big exercise.
Well, yeah.
No, we ran down.
That's actually a good exercise to do because a lot of pundits will just sort of say stupid things like, well, I mean, you're a perfect example. You're a pundit who's like, the Eagles' offense is terrible, but they're average. They're not terrible. It's hyperbole when you say they're terrible.
Well, I mean, it falls into why I said that I don't think Nick Foles was going to be that great, and I thought he'd be a bust this week. I mean, you're getting 17 to 20 fantasy points out of him, and he should be around like 25, 28 for what you expect.
I disagree with Bus. I thought he would do much better, and he didn't.
I mean, as far as Keith and I were concerned, we thought he was going to do better than 20 points.
I mean, St. Louis really ain't that good of a team. They're all right. They play.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Nick Foles is that great.
Well, here's the other thing, though. You also have to.
They're winning games. That's what the sad part is, though.
A lot of their points were scored on defense, but they didn't actually have to do a lot of offensive. They didn't have a lot of offensive duty this week because of all the.
Yeah, but even if you look at the last week, they didn't score one offensive touchdown in that game. How many offensive touchdowns did they score tonight?
Yeah, it's a good point.
They scored 1 or 2.
1, I believe.
1, so that's 1 touchdown in. I don't care how good your defense is doing. If you're scoring 1 offensive touchdown in 2 games, something's not right. Like,
it's the quarterback.
Can Keith and I have a little bit of a joint pissing match right now?
Macklin and Cooper scored, so it was 2 touchdowns, but still.
2 touchdowns, you're right.
Go ahead. Keep
Keith and I
going.
desperately like to sort of bitch about the fact that We are playing in a division that is just outclassing the other divisions by leaps and fucking bounds. You know, him and I are in a battle for our, you know, fantasy lives.
Definitely.
We're in a battle of our fucking fantasy lives, and we scored 161 and 164 points, which is like 20 plus points more than any other team in the league. Meanwhile, these fucking shitballs, the guy who gave fucking Shady to, is in a battle. What's the fucking score? It's brutal.
99 to 82.
99 to fucking 82. So,
Yeah.
dude,
That's
you
kind of
know.
like my division.
And we were watching this game.
They're going to be 4
I'm
and 1.
up 150 to 35, and this motherfucker catches an 80-yard touchdown. And I'm, you know, he's all fucking happy, and I'm all pissed. And then, you know, my guys start doing something, and he's all pissed, and I'm all happy. And it's this fucking seesaw of, like, emotions.
It was crazy. I can't even lie. It's one of the craziest games I've been involved in.
Yeah.
While the donkeys in the division are just fucking sitting the bed.
I was enjoying it all.
I have Clark over here totally Clarking me, saying stuff like, I said Branden Oliver should not have 35 points, because I'm a little bit angry. I mean, he's good, but 35 fucking points for a backup guy that came in, and then Donald Brown gets a concussion, so he's out. Bottom line is, 5 points was very annoying to me. Clark's like, well, if you knew anything about football, you know that Branden Oliver was touted as a good football player. And I'm like, look, that's all well and good, but didn't you say 3 minutes earlier that this is like one of the top run defenses? You're like, yeah, well... He's going back and forth saying this, that, and that's that. I almost choked him at one point.
Yeah, here's the thing. I just want you to give me the credit that I deserve. When I tell you that I was touting him like a few weeks ago, at least 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you were telling him. You were, so you get your props on that, but you were also...
Here's the props. I'll give you all the props that you need right here. I don't mean to cut anybody off. Here we go. Last thing I'm going to say. The props you get is you should actually work for the NFL as opposed to playing fantasy football, because you know who should be on people's teams. The problem is, in fantasy football, you know, knowing who's good, you know, in a year or two doesn't get you paid. But in the NFL, you could be like a millionaire.
I agree, and I'm not a millionaire as a scout, but, you know, I'd at least be happy.
Millionaire.
Today. Yeah, and so the thing is, and he's sort of joking, and at the same time, he's sort of
I'm serious. I'm really serious.
Because he knows, you know, we've been in fantasy leagues for a long time together, and I've gone through the things that here's the problem with me as a fantasy football GM, is that I love talking football to people, and the problem is that the most, like, 60 to 75% of the football that I talk to are people in my league. So I tell them everything that I sort of see that they're not necessarily paying attention to, and they take advantage of that in fantasy football by taking the guys that I tell them are good and not taking the guys that I was telling them were terrible, like, you know, the Daniel Thomas.
Daniel Thomas, but he's still in the league. All right, let's just get through.
Is, you know, and the thing is, I'm a fantasy football player sort of stalker, where, you know, I want to know what the hurt guy is doing in the off season to not be fucking shitty the year after. When Priest Holmes fucking blew out his hip, for example, on some Bo Jackson shit. You know, everyone thought he was done. Everyone thought he had no fucking chance. And then, you know, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know, man. He's a really fucking good runner. His offensive line is absolutely filthy. Dude, that fucking offensive line was just so nasty at the time. And I saw this video on his fucking website. He's running up things and fucking flipping tires and fucking doing backflips on tires and jumping up on top of fucking cars and shit. I'm like, this motherfucker's he's not hurt. So if he is jumping up on cars like some sort of fucking frogman, you know, he's going, and he still has the talent that I know that he does. He's going to fucking shine, and that's exactly what he did. You know, and Keith sort of used that same thinking with LaDainian Tomlinson when he saw that I was watching videos of these guys, and he's like, yeah, dude, I saw this video or I read this article where he said he's got this hill up in his backyard called, what was it, like the fucking truth decider or like the neck breaker or some shit.
I think he actually saw Walter Payton had something like it.
He saw Walter Payton had that shit, and he's like, I'm doing that shit too. So he like straps a tire to his back and he's running up this fucking mountain called the Crippler. And, you know, he's one of the fucking all-timers. And that's what all-timers do. And that's what you need to see, sort of look for when you're scouting players in fantasy football. And in football in general, I would assume. Hiring me, San Diego, or Seattle.
Help me, Seattle. You're my only hope.
Help me, Seattle. You're my only... Dude, I want to do a GIF of Princess Leia saying, Josh Gordon, help! You're my only hope.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Can you do that with like your editing? Can you turn me into a holographic Princess Leia?
I guess technically I probably could. I mean, the only problem is, when you're here, like if I green screen you, definitely, because I could like green screen you, cut you out, it would just be you.
Nice.
And probably like add an effect. See, the problem is it might cost money to have that effect. To like, but I could probably dim you a little bit.
Oh yeah, well you've got the money for it, so do it. All right, hold on. Can you, John? Can you start the over/under, John? Because
yep, I'm gonna do it now. I'm just gonna try to find it right here and go back to it.
I have
All right.
Oh, you got it.
Just give me the fantasy points in like a standard league. If you can bring up their standard league fantasy points, this is without bonuses and all that kind of stuff because we have to base it on that because both of our leagues have different scoring.
All right, so you want me to pull up the scoring first? I don't have a standard league that I do though. Every league I do has like bonuses of some sort. You know.
You can just go to NFL.com standard scoring leaders, I believe. Let me take. Actually, I can bring it. I'll bring it up, and if you can bring up that text that Joe sent, we can just.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we'll tag team it or whatever.
I got it.
All right, so I have NFL scoring leaders, NFL fantasy football weekly leaders. Christ, hold on. All right, yeah. So here we go. I got all the standard scoring leaders right here. So let's go.
I have a little list right here. So how do you want to start?
I'll just go down. Do you have the scoring leaders in front of you?
I have the list that he sent me.
Okay, so you go down the list, and I'll tell you who was right and who was wrong based on what we got. So we're looking at Phillip Rivers, right?
Exactly. Phillip Rivers, they estimated 26 points.
All right, and I said over. Joe said under slightly.
And I said over slightly.
Yeah, and you said you like Foles, Wilson, and Romo to score more than him. And I said maybe Wilson, definitely not Foles. Well, I'm going to give you Phillip Rivers in standard scoring scored 21.82 fantasy points.
Okay, so he went under slightly.
He went under slightly. So I was over, so I was wrong. Both of you guys were right, but you also said Foles.
We were right on the Foles. We were wrong on the Foles. I mean,
you were wrong on the Foles. I was right on the Foles because I said definitely not Foles. He stinks. Was my exact quote.
He doesn't stink though. Stop it.
Okay, he had 13 fantasy points. He stinks, and that's what I said. He stinks.
Had more than 13 standard points?
That's what we have to go by. We have to go by standards. We can't go by everyone's because we can't go by everyone's individual leagues because our scoring is going to be different.
But standard is awful.
I know it's awful, but for the sake of people that probably play standard football and listen to our podcast.
That's how they're ranking them, so we have to do the same thing.
We have to do a standard. Okay, so
we knew when we were getting into when we did it. So
right. So next is
Joe. We were both right. We just said Foles. Oh my God,
that's a touchdown.
Who is number 12?
It's not Marvin Jones. Mohamed Sanu.
I dropped Sanu. I knew he was going to be good. I'm a bum. I need to be punched directly in the head.
All right, so the next one is
I knew he was going to be good.
That's funny. The next one is Rapenberger.
Rapenberger.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with we'll do their prediction points. You tell us what they scored, and then we'll
go through the thing. All right.
Yeah. So
they projected. Go ahead.
No, you could be the host. It's fine.
All right, so they projected Rapenberger for 24 fantasy points. He actually had 12.72 fantasy points in this game, 273 and a touchdown. Is all he did.
Wait. You know what? I'm going to just mention that Eisenberg projected Rapenberger at 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah, okay. We said 24. This is your text. We're reading off of your text.
Okay, gotcha. My bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome back to the show. 24 points is what they projected him at. I said under push. Keith said over push, and Joe said over. I got that one right because he only had 12 fantasy points, 12.72 fantasy points.
You definitely were right on that one. I was definitely wrong. And Joe
all right.
Definitely.
So the next one was Eli Manning. It was 23 fantasy points. I said under. Keith said over. Actually, no. I said way over, about 27. Joe also said way over. You know, about
he had to do crappy, right? What did
he and Keith said over like around 22 fantasy points. Eli for the day finished with 15 fantasy points, 202 touchdowns. That's all he did. So we were pretty much all wrong on Eli this week. Yeah, we were all wrong. Next up is Colin Kaepernick. I said under of his projection of 23 fantasy points. Keith and Joe took the over. I was right. He only had 13.84 fantasy.
I'm also going to take more into account the standard scoring leagues only have 4 points for touchdowns, and that definitely. Obviously, I knew, and I'm not blaming it. I'm not trying to call a cop out, but I'm saying for next week when we do this, I'm definitely going to take into account that standard scoring leagues only get 4 points for a touchdown. You know what I mean? That's like when I look at these numbers, I'm like, where are they coming up with these numbers?
But even if you add 2 points, 2 more points to Kaepernick, he still only has 15 fantasy.
Yeah, but you know what? In my league though,
and Eli would only had 4 more points, and it was 19.
The problem is I think more about my league than any other, and let me just for example show you that in my league, Roethlisberger got 17.6. So when we say 24, 17.6 is not that much worse. Whereas I think you said he scored 12, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, how about this? Do you want to just go?
No, we're fine.
Finish doing it this way. Yeah. So next week when we do our predictions, we'll consider standard scoring 4 points per touchdown.
Right.
We'll do it that way.
I just got to get that into my head.
I don't even know. I literally my brain can't process 4 points per.
And no bonuses. You also got to factor that in. So
I know.
70, 80-yard touchdown.
Right, so we're doing it. I think we all passed on Jay Cutler. I think because I just have
yeah, he was the start of the week, I believe.
Right, and it was 20 points, and I think we all said right around that range.
Yeah.
Well, I think we were we were lost on that one because it says start of the week was their start of the week was Phillip Rivers.
Oh.
Right.
No, what was it? The sleeper of the week or something strange?
Who knows? But he only had 21 fantasy points. 21 points.
They said though, so we all kind of agreed that it was going to be.
Yeah. Right.
So we go back and see what we actually said, but.
Right. So Tom Brady's still playing right now. Cousins has yet to go. Mike Glennon.
Tom Brady's probably going to beat the 16, though. I mean.
All right. Here we go. Mike Glennon.
Crushed it. 15
fantasy points. I said over. You guys said under. He was 15.96. So winner here again. Joe.
Whoa. Say this again?
He scored 15.9 in.
He said over.
Yeah, over 15 is.
I said over. You guys said under.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean anything. You were wrong and we were wrong.
What? He got 15.9.
This is not Price is Right.
Oh, so you say that it's.
You're saying it's.
They hit it right on, is what you're saying.
Yeah, what's going on here?
I'm saying he was 1 point over. Stop it. God.
Wait. So wait.
It's 15.96. It's not like it's 15.2.
You're taking the over? Okay, whatever. That's fine. Whatever. It wasn't an over push, but I'll take it.
Okay,
I'm loving the second part of the skit than the first.
Yeah,
one.
it's an over push, whatever. Even if it's an over push, you guys were under, so you had the wrong side. You didn't say push. Jeez. Flacco, 18 points is what they were projected at. I think we all went over on Flacco, and we were terribly wrong on that. He had 235 and an interception, so he had 7 fantasy points.
That's terrible.
Yeah, 7 fantasy points.
Yeah.
That's sad.
All right, Keith, I asked you to bring up the betting lines for the
I
week.
have it.
And the reason why was directly related to
Look
something
at Tim Wright, dude.
before this game started. The sit of the week, Tom Brady, 16 points. What was the line of the Patriots-Cincinnati game? I think I heard that they were only getting 1 point.
Yeah, the Patriots were definitely looking like the stronger play in Vegas tonight.
No, but what I'm seeing is 2.5 to 3 was like what the line ended up finishing at. Basically,
The line ended up finishing at,
yeah, I mean the Mirage had it at 3. Pinnacle had it at 2.5. Station, whatever the hell that is, had it at 2.5. So it was like 2.5, 3. I mean, I guess you can call it 3.
If you look at the trends on it, at some point this week they were getting 1.
Who was getting 1?
When you see the Patriots only getting 1 point, to me that means that they're getting a terrible Patriots team who got worked by KC. Only getting a single point against an undefeated Cincinnati
at home, though.
At home, granted, but bad team versus undefeated team versus the team that everyone has been saying, sort of as the sexy people say, that they were the best team in football. So Patriots only getting 1 point there, to me, would have raised the flag, meaning that Brady was probably going to do at least better than 16 points.
Well,
he's got 11.74 right now, so the jury's still out. Let me finish this up real quick because the next part of this segment is going to be hilarious. Let's see, just a little. That's what we call a little tease in the industry. Let's see, Andy Dalton's still playing, so we're going to go to Nick Foles, bust of the week. I agreed. You guys said way over on his projection. I'm not sure what they projected him at because it's not listed here. So Joe, you'll have to give me that. Really jumping over people and getting first down.
I want to say they projected him at like 13 or 15 or somewhere around that.
Okay,
I remember saying a comment about.
I thought it was 8.
It was a bust of the
week. I think it was 18.
Yeah, I think it was 18 too, and I agreed because he only got 13.58 fantasy points.
I just didn't understand how a bust of the week could have 18, but like.
I think I nailed it because of where what the type of production you expect out of him. That's why it's a bust.
Yeah.
For what he was doing last year, he was averaging about 25.
Well, then the bust of the week should be LaShawn McCoy every week because.
Well, there's one for every category. So now we're going to get to the running backs, and this is going to.
Wait, what's the funny one?
What's the funny one?
Oh yeah.
Running back. Okay, running backs. Bishop Sankey was projected at 12. I said over. You guys said under. You guys nailed it. He didn't even get in the game. It seemed like it was pretty awful, actually, for what he did. So much for Ken Wisenhunt saying we're going to get him the ball more. They decided to keep going back to Sean Green for some odd reason. I don't even have him listed on here in the first page, so who cares what he has if he's not on the first page of leaders?
All right. That was just terrible for them.
Okay, here's the best one, and here come the fireworks. Andre Ellington, 12 points. Keith said way under. I said way over, and so did Joe. And 26 fantasy points in the standard league.
That was awesome.
I'm not even gonna lie. He scored 36 or something in our league with bonuses.
Yeah, he scored like 35 in my league.
I was hedging, and Joe knew what I was doing when I said way on.
I know you were. You were.
I would have never said way over either way, though. I would have said push.
Of course not.
Honestly, if it wasn't for that one play, it was gonna be right around 12 because he had like around 11 point something before that ridiculous play.
Yeah, it's true. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, so next guy up is Gore. 15 was the number. Joe went for the vaunted under push. Keith took the under, and so did I, and he finished with 10 fantasy points. 100 yards, and that's it. 107 yards, 15. We were probably thinking 5-point bonus, so we were kind of just thinking in that range.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think outside of my scoring box, honestly.
Right. So that's probably just
To me, 15 is 100 yards or 60 and a touch, or
Right.
It's all good. We just
we have to readjust for next week.
I think we all probably hit on that.
Yeah, we probably did. Jack Stacey was 14. I said push. Norris and Keith said way over.
Oh, that's
These are all their stardoms, by the way, right? Aren't these all guys that they said to start?
Yeah, it seems like it.
yeah. These are the
Pretty much not good.
So Zach Stacy is not even on the first page, but I'm gonna look at his just to be.
No, he got hurt. He had like 2 points and got hurt or some shit, I think, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
he must have really shat. He shat the bed all, in
did.
Philly.
He's still in a diaper right now.
So I said
John
push.
scored, if anyone
You
cares.
guys are
Brady is definitely
Yeah, I saw it.
beastly, but
Lighting it up right now,
of
right?
course he is. Cincinnati.
But
has
they'll
a
go.
good day, right?
But they'll go back and stink again. I mean, it's any given
it's
Sunday.
The NFL, though. I mean, it's
Right, it is.
Things.
right.
All right, here you go. Here you go, Joe. Here's some lemonade for you. Donald Brown, 8 points. We all took the under, and we were right.
We'll crush that one, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand what team you have to start Donald Brown on, but if you do, you are the worst drafter ever, the worst in-season management ever.
14-team and 16-team league. I could see Donald Brown being a second running back this week.
Half-point PPR.
Or, last thing I'll say is you probably had some injury issues or some stuff that just went wrong. And if that's the case, that's fine. But honestly, if you're starting him just because...
Right.
Here's the thing, too, though. This is just more of an indictment on how, it's any given Sunday as far as, what teams are good and what teams have good defenses. It's all about just the situation, too. You have to look into it as well. Just the next two running backs. We all had Ridley and Steven Jackson are coming up next, right? Ridley, his projection was 6. Joe and I took the under. Keith took the push. We're obviously wrong on that because he's got about 10 fantasy points right now in standard scoring. Steven Jackson was 7 points was the projection. We all took the under except for Keith, who took the over. And, he came through with that because, Hambrolo did get a touchdown.
I think if you look back and got the tape from me, I think I said he'll get 60 yards and a touchdown. What was his actual stat line? What did he get?
Let's see. Steven Jackson finished with 37. He had 74 yards and a touchdown. So,
dude, I think I might call his stat line directly on. I'm going to go back, find it, and clip it into the next show. Just because. None of my wrong predictions will I do that with, though. Only the correct ones. Just so
all right, so we're done with the other running backs. There's still a couple games that are going on, but we can jump into the wide receivers real quick. I'm going to pull them up. The first guy we're going to start with is Kelvin Benjamin, who was projected at 15 points. We all took the under on that, and I believe we all hit
crushed it.
Under. We crushed it.
It up. Yeah, like 1 point something. If that.
Right. 17 yards is all he had today, so we crushed that. DeAndre Hopkins, 14 points. We all. I took the under.
I took the under. Joe took the over.
Joe took the over. He didn't do much either.
He went under, yeah.
He went way under.
Really have a good game though. I mean,
Here's one we missed on. Golden Tate, 12 projected points. We all took the under. He had 19, 134 yards and a touchdown.
Wow.
For Golden Tate. Steve Smith, Joe took the over. Keith and I took the under. Wow.
Oh my God.
This is what I'm talking about. This is just situation. It's just at home being fired up. It has nothing to do. It's like one of those games you just throw out.
Yeah, but you can't even throw it out there because you got to look. Here's the NFL. You always got to look what's happening next and what happened before, and that's what a lot.
It's true, but you're going to think you're
from a game. They shat the bed. But I mean, come on, that's the football. When you got your backs against the wall, it was like that Eagles-Philly game. The fucking San Francisco lost a tough game the week before, I think, to Arizona, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. I can't remember the exact team they played. But it might have been Seattle. Whatever. They lost.
So you're trusting the Patriots
against the wall. The Eagles going in there 3-0. I'm just saying that's how the NFL works. Well,
I know that, but I'm saying from a fantasy standpoint, it's something you can't really trust. You have to look at.
It's hard.
It's a small sample size, and you can say the Patriots basically played one game out of the 4 that they've.
I just laugh at people that say Tom Brady's completely done. He had 3 bad games out of 120, and everyone's like, he's done. He's done. Forget him. You know what I mean?
I still think he's getting divorced. I don't give a shit.
Okay, anyway. So Steve Smith was 14 points. We all took the under. He didn't do anything today. Blood and Guts didn't do shit, actually. I'm not even sure what his stat line was, but it was under 80 yards.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne was 13. I took the over. Keith had over push. Norris had the under.
What was his stat line?
Who, Reggie Wayne?
Yeah, I didn't really pay that much attention to him. He couldn't have done that well.
I don't think he did that great. Reggie Wayne did. He had 77 yards. So Joe nailed the under on that. Yeah, Kendall Wright, 5 points. Keith said over, and I guess Joe and I didn't even care to even say anything.
That's fucked up. Wait, was I right? I killed it.
Yeah,
Kendall
you
Wright
killed
had a
it.
monster
You killed
game.
it. You killed it.
Yeah, he had a monster game.
There's a note here for Andre Johnson. Bust, no shit.
Well, he did the same as DeAndre. He had like what?
58 yards. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. So I mean,
I'm actually a big Andre Johnson fan.
I love Andre Johnson, but he's done.
Yeah, he's been done for a few years now, and he's one of those sort of names like Steven Jackson that if you get roped into taking them, you had a bad draft because they are exactly what you expect, and that's not something that you want from. I mean, you want consistency, but you don't want them to be consistently mediocre with sort of accidental days of touchdowns and yards.
They're just low ceiling guys that are not going to get you very many points. You just don't have much to go with them. I mean, and they're not even going to be that reliable. In PPRs, maybe he'll be good, but again, I think PPRs belong in the toilet. PP.
So wait, just really quick, let's do a quick rundown of who you think would be in there. To me, Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Johnson. Who do you just say?
I want to say this about Larry Fitzgerald. I don't think he's completely done. His situation's terrible, obviously. How many years he hasn't played with very many good quarterbacks, but he is getting old, probably in that range now. But if he was on a different team with a different quarterback, I think he could be good. I don't think he's quite Andre Johnson done, but I know what you're saying. He's definitely in there right now. If he stays on that team forever, he's probably done.
Are you talking about who? Larry Fitzgerald?
Yeah, I think Larry Fitz has a little something in the tank to give someone, just not the team he's on, personally.
What's happening right now?
I heard somebody say they should trade him to the Patriots. He'd be good there.
I mean, if he was on the Patriots, he would be ridiculous, and you would be like, wow.
You guys are doing right now exactly what I call sort of like the fantasy football hypnosis, where there are names that you will make under every excuse done for, and like for example, Larry Fitzgerald is most likely going to get traded to, insert team here next year, and you guys are going to be the ones that are saying, he's in a new system. I told you when he's at fucking X, Y, and Z, he's going to be a different guy. If he wants to be a Patriot next year, he would be just as Larry Fitzgerald as you think he is, which is not that good at fucking 35 years old. I mean, not that amazing.
I don't know about that because to say that you're saying that he wouldn't be the best receiver on that team.
He would be the best receiver on a shitty team.
But he'd be the best receiver on that team by a long shot.
Okay, so like when Randy Moss went to the Patriots, he was clearly people thought he was done. Remember?
And Larry Fitzgerald
doing the same thing.
Larry Fitzgerald is not.
When's the last time Larry Fitzgerald had a really good quarterback?
Fucking Randy Moss. Do not fucking insult Randy Moss by ever calling Larry Fitzgerald even in the same fucking stratosphere.
Well, I never said that, but I'm just telling you the last time Larry Fitzgerald had a real quarterback, he put up solid numbers.
Yeah, but that was way too many years ago. Randy Moss didn't have multiple years in a row. He was just having a fucking shitty time of being a cocksucker.
All right, well, we can talk about who's worse between Andre Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald on another podcast, but let's get through these tight ends real quick.
That's true.
So the tight ends, Heath Miller, 13 points. He actually only scored. I just had him here somewhere. He didn't do a lot.
Touchdowns.
Yeah. Heath Miller, 46 yards. That's all he had.
Yeah, Heath Miller.
I said over. You guys, Joe, you nailed it with the way under. Keith, you said under. Larry Donnell, 12 points. Keith and I took the under. Actually, I took the over.
I took the under, motherfucker.
Yeah, I took
statless. He has no stat. I know.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Zero stats.
Okay, you nailed.
Everyone loves this guy.
Yeah, you nailed. He's slow. That's what I say. All right, so Travis Kelce.
He had a 3-touchdown game. Everyone thinks he's like the next second coming of. I don't even know, someone that's good. Insert a good guy here, but it's you take that game away. Donnell has not had that great of a season.
The other, Jeremy Shockey. All right, so Travis Kelce, 12 points. I took the under. You guys both took the over. Joe was way over because he said 20 points. I I nailed that. He basically had 2 catches,
Wow.
15 yards, and a touchdown.
See, that's why you say A.J. Green ain't good. That's a ridiculous catch, John. That's
yeah,
not
but that doesn't make
catch.
Andy Dalton great. I never said.
No, you said A.J. Green.
I never said
all
that.
circus catches.
I
didn't say you said A.J. Green was bad. You just said that.
He's a circus sketch guy. That's all he does.
I did not say that. I said that Andy Dalton's production is because of A.J. Green and his circus catches by making a bad throw a great play.
So what you're saying is his nickname should be Barnum and Bailey?
Who's that, Andy Dalton?
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I don't think Drew Brees would make St. Louis's wide receivers any better.
What?
I got you. He's saying that just because a good quarterback's there doesn't make, a bum good. He's saying that A.J. Green is good, basically, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
right?
but we started this whole thing talking about Stafford and A.J. Green, Stafford and Dalton. And we both said, and we both all agree that they are basically, like you could say, probably 50% of their production is dependent on that stud receiver. That's who it is.
Well, no,
I agree, but he's good. Look at this. I mean,
hurt like the last 2 games, wasn't he? Who's out?
I'm saying this. Andy Dalton's good. I'm not saying he's the greatest fucking thing ever, but for you to say he's not good, we're gonna have that argument the whole season. I guess
that's fine. I'll take it. We'll figure it out.
Well, here's a question for you. Again, you say he stinks, right?
Yeah.
You're saying that he's not above average? Because we did.
Yeah, you want to run through all the quarterbacks now and say where he's at? We can do that.
I think we should do that right fucking now.
No, because we have to talk about injured quarterbacks too.
Huh? Wait, why?
Well, because we why wouldn't we?
Wait, injured, and who's better that's injured right now?
What are you like talking about like Dan Marino and shit too now?
No.
What to say? You're talking about Steve Young? Yeah, you're right.
Come on, Carson Palmer's better than him right now.
What? No, get out of here. No chance.
Okay, so all right. Well, we'll run through the quarterbacks after this. We'll run through the quarterbacks after this. We'll see where he's at. All right.
Fine. We're so close.
That's what we're gonna do. Let's see. Ertz bust alert. I agreed. You guys disagreed. I nailed that one again. I was killing it. Ertz, 39 yards. He sucks. And that was a direct relation to Nick Foles. I've been saying it and I've been shouting it from the rooftop since.
I'm going to give you your props. You hate on Nick Foles and you were dead right. You called Nick Foles.
Dead right as in you think you agree with him still?
I'm not saying Nick Foles stinks. I'm just saying that he was right about this week Nick Foles being a bust, and he was right.
All right.
Listen, in this scenario that we're doing here, we're strictly going week to week, obviously, because this is the start of Sidham for week 5 that we're doing and going over. So, obviously, but I don't think Nick Foles going forward is as bad as he's not hot garbage. That's the segment. It's not rubbish in a bin. It's hot garbage with your.
Just as an experiment, I want to see, John. Can you look at? Oh shit, you can't look at that. Do you have a CBS Sportsline account?
Yeah. You want me to look at the hot and cold things?
I want you to look at the Sidham stardoms, and I want to see if like the points from last week are the same on yours, or they're adjusted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I want to see if they're adjusted for the points or not. Because
these
numbers are big numbers. Phillip Rivers scoring 26. He didn't get anywhere near 26, did he?
I think he did.
Shit.
I think Phillip Rivers did hit 26. They had a lot of touchdowns.
26 in standard score.
Hold on, let me see. What are we looking at here?
Big green touchdown.
They might be.
Who threw that to him? Did that ball magically went up in the air out of nowhere? Or?
Guys, stop it! They're getting their ass kicked. 31.
What are you talking about? This is what comebacks are made of right here.
Comebacks are made up when teams let up after up.
How is that a circus catch? Like literally, like
that's not a.
You guys are not going to tell me Andy Dalton is great after they're down 31 points, and then all of a sudden the Patriots go into this, prevent mode and just like, let's just let them get down the field. It's 34-10. Stop it. Like, stop it already. When the game was on the line, Andy Dalton wasn't doing shit. Like, why can't you see that?
On the line. It's going to be 17. That's 10 if they add this on.
Yeah, it's fucking touchdowns.
Trust me. And I need Cincinnati to lose, so there's a good chance they will come back and win by, 20. So keep that.
He's awful. He didn't even catch the fucking ball. How about that? That's not even going to be in touch. No, I don't think they're going to.
All right, so he catches it. That's a catch. He still got it in possession, and he got his knee down. That's a catch.
Touchdown.
I think his knee came out of bounds.
No way. That's a touchdown.
He has
All right.
like
I'll spot you 5 points in our fantasy league next week.
There was no point that wasn't his ball.
We're so far ahead of you, we can tell you what happens already. And I'm joking. We're not that far ahead. They've still it's still on official review in my screen.
I feel like you're in the future.
What are you seeing on the TV right now, out of curiosity?
Marvelous, staring up. Belichick.
We're way ahead of you. We're already off Belichick, on to Green.
Belichick.
Redhead, Andy Dalton's face.
Green.
Andy Dalton's face. I see
Dalton's face. This is the gayest haircut.
All right, let's see. Where does he have possession?
Now they're catching the ball.
Who has a Twinkie haircut?
He did.
Time out. I want to bet a Philly cheesesteak right now, and I don't care if you live in Jersey, that they call this a touchdown. You in or out? Call it now.
Me?
I owe you a cheesesteak whenever we get together next Thursday, or you owe me one. What are you doing? You got to go do it now.
Right now, let me look at this last replay real quick.
Oh, okay.
Look at the last one. What is it?
You mentioned, yeah.
Wait.
That I am.
Oh, come on! I thought that replay. Oh, Revis got hurt.
So hopefully there's gonna be a special like 3-man fantasy.
We might actually all be together, and the sound that you hear might be like amazing as compared to
entering. Yeah, the sound's gonna be just as.
Oh, they gave it a touchdown. They gave him a touchdown.
Yeah, see, fuck. I wish you would have fucking took the chance. God damn it. Now I'm not getting a cheesesteak. I'm still buying a cheesesteak next week.
Wait, what happened?
If they called it a touchdown. Oh, you didn't. Sorry, Joe. Wait, we're still waiting to see.
Yeah, they did call it. They did call it.
They called. No,
Okay, so not only did Andy Dalton throw a touchdown when they're down 34-10, but Revis was actually out. I don't even know what's happening right now, but I think my points would be improving.
Again,
Andy Dalton's got 21.2 points in my league. I wouldn't say he's terrible, is all I'm saying.
Can I just talk about something?
Why are these auto videos popping up? This thing is terrible.
There's a fantasy football philosophy that I live by, and I've won a lot of championships. That's how I roll.
Wait, did you win the 2004 Fox Fantasy $10,000 championship?
No, you did not. Who did? Do you know?
I believe it was me.
I mean, at one point tonight, we're definitely going to do it. No, dude, I give him all the props in the world for that. And he knows it, because I actually made the trade for him. It was my idea to make the trade that he won the league with.
I will say this. His tightness for Priest Holmes definitely made me pick Priest Holmes, and Priest Holmes definitely. I think it was 2004.
Yeah, whatever year that was. But anyway, fuck, you guys just made me. Oh, yeah. Here's one of the principles that I sort of live by in fantasy football. When you don't have a superstar quarterback, so this is why I never sort of draft quarterbacks in the first 3 or 4 rounds. And my goal is when at the draft, I want to get a top 6 or 7 quarterback in the 5 to 7-ish round, depending on how I'm feeling that year. And if you don't get that guy, you just want a guy that's a decent quarterback that's on a bad team that's always losing. That's the next best thing to having a superstar quarterback, is having a quarterback that's always losing but doesn't fucking suck. And if you got one of those guys, you might as well have a superstar quarterback, because they're always behind, they're always throwing, they always put up big fucking numbers.
Definitely.
And you're looking for the ones that are throwing way, the interceptions low and the touchdowns to, 2.5 per game. Somewhere between, you're expecting 2 and 3 touchdowns a game. I would put like the Romos of the world in there. I would put the Ben Roethlisbergers of the world in there. I would put an Andy Dalton in there. As far as I'm concerned, there's like 5 quarterbacks that are worth a shit. Don't have to ever have a question of whether or not you're going to start this guy over the next guy. And that's obviously Aaron Rodgers. You're never starting anyone over Aaron Rodgers. You're never starting anyone over Peyton. You're never starting anyone over Drew Brees. You're never starting anyone over Matt Ryan. Is there any more?
Never starting anybody over Julian Edelman.
I might start a few.
Literally just paralyzed you.
I did.
No, but seriously, outside of those four, who
Julian just trucked somebody.
Who's a set it and forget it?
Watch it. Just watch it since you're behind.
Wait, who's a set and forget it?
Yeah, he did trucking.
He might have made the all-white. I think he just made the all-white team. Actually, he was on by default. There's not too many white.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and we probably shouldn't be doing like meeting notes during the show, but I was thinking that instead of like doing the draft, we should probably just like the top black, Fitty, and white. I'll just call Fitty as in half and half.
Right.
50%. We should just sort of highlight who they were each week so we don't have to fucking pick. And then we can just sort of decide who had the best week out of those actual performances.
That's what I said to you before. Did you want to do it that way? And then you said, no, we got to pick players.
Nah, I came up with that idea now. So
I'm glad we... You know what I love is that if I really want to scroll through as much tape, I can find where I actually say that.
And the great thing about it, I know he doesn't have nuts to scroll through any tape whatsoever. So I'm perfectly safe.
I don't know. If I get angry enough, I might actually scroll through like 5 hours worth.
Look at Ridley.
Oh my God.
Ridley looking good. Of course, I drop his ass and he wants to do that shit. It's terrible. Don't trust that. Don't trust that Patriots running game. Somebody told me.
Actually, what are you gonna do next week, dude?
No, actually, you know what? No, you're right. I still don't trust it. I still don't trust it because, like I said to Keith,
there's a hold right there. They didn't even call on.
No, I get it. This is a game you have to throw out. People are going to start Ridley next week, and he won't do dick. Like that's what's going to happen.
That's what happened.
That's what happens.
My guy does nothing 1 week. I know he's going to do something the next week. That's like guaranteed.
Yeah, he's going to have 100 yards and a touchdown. He does this like every 4 games. And then look, they put Bolden in there, and he's probably going to score the touchdown.
What's Vereen? That's my question.
Vereen has 81 yards.
81 yards what?
Rushing and -3 receiving yards, so he's got 78 yards total.
I want to also add that the whole Mike Irvin thing where he projected 200 yards from Shady.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to hear this, but when you said he got the trade wrong and he did 200,
Demaryius, that's funny. That's fucking funny.
Really
yeah, you did say that, Joe. You said he got the trade wrong. He meant Demaryius.
Like, he got it wrong. He just meant Demaryius or something.
Yeah, no, definitely. I knew it. I knew it. When I said that, he had like, he had 100 and some yards. I knew that he was getting to. It was just one of those games where you just see a guy like, okay.
No, I know what you mean.
It never is a guy that's on your team. It's always a guy on the team that you're playing. You don't notice those games as much when you're not playing them.
No, definitely. Or you don't have them on your team. Like you don't like. I don't know what most people did. Like
there's 10 other teams in the league that that probably don't even know Demaryius Thomas had 200 fucking plus yards.
Because they just don't care. I actually look around. I don't know how everyone else feels about this, but I look around at all fantasy scores in my league, and like try to see what's going on. And like I'm not that guy that just cares only about my team.
Yeah, I look at
it. You know what I mean?
That's why I'm glad I got rid of Ridley because the guy, like I was telling Keith, like he Monday night ruled Shane Vereen in for Bishop Sankey, and he picked up Vereen when I dropped. I mean, he picked up Ridley when I dropped him, and he has Ridley on his bench, and he's outperforming Shane Vereen. I said, I hope you don't lose because if you do, I'm going to troll you because you picked up the guy I tried to trade you, and now you have to deal with that headache the rest of the season with your shit team.
Dude,
and that's exactly what he has to do now. He has to worry about what running back am I going to start. Am I going to start both Patriots running backs? Am I going to start one? Am I going to start the other? I mean, his other running backs are fucking Justin Forsett and Alfred fucking Blue. Like, good luck with that. You know what I mean? Like, let that be somebody else's fucking problem, not mine.
Yep, and I definitely do not want to be in one of those situations where you've got running backs that are in a fucking committee like that.
Right. A committee that you can't trust.
That's why I dropped Vereen this week, and that's why he dropped Ridley. And I
tried to pick up Vereen, which is even funnier, but I didn't get him. Someone else did.
The guys that I took, as far as running backs are concerned, over that I left on my team and got rid of Vereen. was Bobby Rainey,
Right.
Tom Smith,
Right.
Mark Ingram, obviously, Carlos Hyde, Niall Davis, Branden Oliver. He was the odd man out. All of
Right.
the guys, I believe, have like the potential. They've got a skill tree, sort of destiny. I think fantasy football each year is sort of like a crossroads situation where, you go left, you get to a situation, and if you go left, this happens, and if you go right, this happens. And that's all, and their sort of crossroad trees all lead to the promised land. Niall Davis, if JC goes down, Niall Davis has shown that he's competent. I think people who are watching think that if Frank Gore goes down, he's competent. I think anybody who's been watching New Orleans saw Mark Ingram, and there's no question that he's sort of a different running back this year, trying to cake up at free agency. I mean, whatever the reason is, he's running like what you hoped the professional NFL player Mark Ingram could be. Am I wrong on that?
Right. You're right.
Bobby Rainey, he's got the narrative. He's definitely in most people who's watching's opinion that he's better than Doug Martin. Just doing everything. He just needs to.
Right. On top of that, the piggyback of what you're saying is you can't really dick around with guys who are going to be in an unreliable timeshare. I mean, if you're a Stephen Ridley owner and you need, like, let's say 30 points out of Ridley, you know what I mean? If you're throwing caution to the wind and you're just Monday night ruling Ridley for somebody, you're pulling your hair out right now because he's sitting on 94 yards and a touchdown, and they get down, in the red zone, deep in the red zone, they pull him out, and then they fake it to Farine and then throw a sloppy pass, and then that's just the kind of stuff that you don't want to deal with. You want to deal with a guy who's going to have the right situation, whose coach isn't stupid and doesn't want to play games. He knows he's going to give him the ball. Like, that was the reason why I got rid of Ridley and I decided to pick up guys like, Andre Williams, because I felt that Tom Coughlin's an old school guy. He's going to run the goddamn ball. He has a good offensive line, and that's what he did. He even started to pull, Rashad Jennings out, in the goal line anyway. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I'm looking at. Like, I want guys who are going to be in that situation to where I don't have to worry about it. I know when they get in the red zone, they're going to give that guy the rock because he's the hammer that's going to finish the drive.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen with Bobby Rainey once they figure out that Doug Martin is just toast. They're going to say, look, Bobby Rainey has all the tools that Doug Martin has, but he's just a better running back because he just has better vision. He doesn't run into the line and just, fold up like a tent. He's going to run. He's going to get tough yards. He's going to do everything you ask him to do. That's why he's the better guy. Just the same thing with the whole Monty Ball situation. Monty Ball, oh man, he's terrible. Which is why I still like C.J. Anderson long term than Ronnie Hillman, because Ronnie Hillman, fumbles a little bit, and I know there was a time that he was in the doghouse, and I don't think C.J. Anderson did anything to not warrant touches in that offense while Ball is out. And I think C.J. Anderson, being the more explosive guy, that's the guy you probably want to have in that Denver offense.
Well, here's the thing about C.J. Anderson, and I do not disagree, but what I sort of learned from watching Denver over the last couple of years with Peyton Manning and John Fox as head coach is that they they find out who the guy is and they run him until he's no longer performing like the guy. So, for example, Noshan Marino was the guy last year, and everybody was all puzzled, like, why are they giving Noshan Marino the guy? But Noshan Marino has an amazing ability, for as much shit as I've talked on him in his career, to run really hard, perform really well when he's healthy. I think he's one of those cats that I've never loved on my team, but I certainly respect his ability to work hard and be a professional football player who wants to be good at football, not just making money off of football. Yeah, so I fucking lost my fucking train of thought, but I did.
No, I know what you mean, though. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, now I remember. So right now Ronnie Hilton is in the line, and you're looking on the second level of what happens when Ronnie Hillman is underperforming or gets hurt. And C.J. Anderson is definitely the guy. Now, in most leagues, let's just say C.J. Anderson is either on someone's team already or not.
That's what I was wondering about.
Okay, so let me put it to you this way, because you know what, one of the things that we're doing is a disservice to the subscribers, listeners, or whatever, is we're kind of interjecting too much of our own situation into the narrative. But I think the situation also has to include, like, you know, what is the optimal situation when you're picking up a guy like C.J. Anderson. So in like my situation where I'm pretty set at running back right now, where I have Lacey Ellington, Lamar Miller, and now Andre Williams, like, obviously where I'm at in my league and where my waiver position is, I'm not going to get any of the hot guys that are coming off of, you know, waivers like, you know, Oliver or Antone Smith or, you know, anybody that performed and people are going to rush out to get. But I'm going to hedge my bets and take C.J. Anderson and just stash him, knowing that, you know, I'm never going to start him. But when the time comes, and which I think it will, then I'm going to have that other piece that probably won't be on my team, but I'll just trade him away with somebody else and upgrade another position, because, and that's just how I kind of run my team.
Right.
You know,
I get it for sure. Okay, just sort of conceptualizing this. Try and visualize having three sorts of levels of running backs on your team. You want two starters. You want these starters that you can plug in every week, and you basically have a decision that you have to choose between. You know, there's the one guy who's always going to play, and then there's two guys who are starting running backs in professional football that have the ability to do well or just be the guy. Then the second level is sort of those backup guys like the Niall Davises and the Carlos Hydes of the world, where, you know, you're sort of sitting there, you're stashing them, waiting in the wings for when and if the stud goes down, and they have the talent to be the stud while they have that opportunity.
They're lottery tickets, basically.
They're the lottery tickets. And then there's the third level, which is sort of the Antone Smiths and the Antone Smith and the Branden Olivers of the world, where there's a lot of things that have to go right for him to get in the game. And when he gets in the game, he's going to either be the man when he gets the opportunity, or he is enough of the man to give you you know.
Right.
There's a lot of cats that in like Dynasty League that might have traded fucking Doug Martin and to someone who kept Doug Martin, and he stinks. You know what I'm saying? So whether Branden Oliver is going to be a stud or a dud is irrelevant to the fact that his value in fantasy football is fucking sky high right now.
Move him.
and it only depends on sort of the league. So Branden Oliver's sky high in my opinion, but the other 11 teams in the league might not necessarily sort of believe in him yet because they haven't seen what I've seen. They've only just heard what I've been talking shit about for the last fucking 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, if you can get him in a Dynasty League, I think that's better, honestly.
What's that?
I said if you can get Branden Oliver in a Dynasty League, I think that's much more better of a situation than just a regular league. That's just my
no doubt.
For sure.
No doubt. But yeah, so if you look in a situation like mine, I know you guys were talking about like the guys I was getting rid of and all that other kind of stuff. I mean, it's just, you know, I'm in a unique position to where, like, granted, we're talking about like roster spots and all that other kind of stuff, but at the same time, like, I don't want to have to make too many decisions when in a position I feel like I'm pretty much set at, and unless people are going to want to trade me and like pick guys up, like, I don't want to waste, you know, I don't want to tie up that many resources in one position where I feel like I'm super heavy in that. Like, right now, I think I need, like I explained to you, you know, I need help at receiver, but I mean, do I get rid of James Starks? You know what I mean? Being the Lacey owner? No, I'm not going to drop him for any of those guys because he is my insurance policy against Eddie Lacy. You know what I mean? And he's still a decent running back. You know, and in that offense, the starting running back for the Packers is going to be that much better than any guy you're going to pick up off of waivers for the long haul.
Who else do you have that you could drop?
I think the guy I probably should have dropped would have probably been my other tight end, but I know I have Kelsey on the bye, so I need to have somebody, and I didn't want to waste a waiver position.
Here's what I would say. Here's what I would do in the situation that you're in, and that's actually a really good sort of fantasy football scenario that a lot of every owner sort of faces. What I would say is that he is only important to you right now. So if you need to pick up somebody, you can drop a James Starks. No one else is picking up a James Starks this week for any reason. They don't have the reason to pick him up. So you basically have to drop him, leave him,
and then hope,
and hope Lacey doesn't get hurt. If Lacey gets hurt, fuck. You know, and there's only so many weeks you can fucking leave him out there before you fucking shit the bed.
But you almost but see you're but this is the first week that Lacey actually did something. So this is different.
But James and Lacey's doing nothingness either.
What's that?
Starks hasn't done anything either.
But you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. What I'm saying is, prior to this game, Lacey wasn't doing anything. So if let's say Lacey didn't do anything against Minnesota and Starks came in.
Not just going to put in Starks because he's not doing anything.
No. Well, yeah. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that you could probably see like a timeshare coming up and all that other kind of stuff. And at that point, like you have to kind of at least have that insurance policy against that. That was my thinking. That was my philosophy.
James Starks' job. And
what's that?
Honestly, you can obviously you're a good fucking fantasy football GM, so I'm not talking shit on your decision. But at the same time, James Starks is in no danger. Eddie Lacy's in no danger of James Starks taking his job in any stretch of the capacity, unless he gets fucking blown up by another Seattle Seahawks, and they only play them once this year. So.
Well, I mean, let's hope. You know what I mean? But again. That was a decision I decided to make. Like, looking back on it, I probably should have let Starks and Walker go, but then I'm looking at holding on. Then my running backs this is my running back situation. You know, I have Ellington, I have Lacey, I have Andre Williams, I have Branden Oliver, I have Antone Smith, and Lamar Miller. And my receivers are, Nelson, C-Pat, Mike Wallace, and Allen Robinson. Now, granted, you could say I could take two of those guys and trade them away. What's that?
You don't have JG12 on this team?
Yeah, I still have JG12 on this team too. So that's the thing. So do I trade those guys away and pick up another receiver? Yeah, I could have done that. But I mean, prior to week 5, I mean, Branden Oliver was an unknown. You know what I mean? Andre Williams, I had a feeling about, and Antone Smith, I just said,
Branden Oliver has not been unknown for the last 3 weeks as far as you're concerned, motherfucker.
Because I'm not in running back hell, Joe. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You can't just look at the situation.
I'm telling you. Look, here's the exact. I can tell you exactly how it happened. I remember it. So what happened was I had a fucking a fucking existential crisis in regards to who I was going to start as a running back this week. I saw that Ryan Mathews went down. I saw that John Stewart went down also. I went to Carolina. I saw Darren Reeves. I checked out a bunch of his video, and I was like, holy shit, this kid's actually not so bad. He played at the University of Alabama, right? UAB.
UAB, right.
He got kicked out of fucking Georgia. I forget where he was, but he got kicked out, and then they're going to UAB. And I was watching his videos, like, okay, this kid has the ability to be not shitty in the NFL. And then I was looking at his preseason, and he had a couple of nice preseason runs, and he scored a preseason touchdown. And I texted you, and I was like, dude, Darren Reeves, check this kid out, blah 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 blah. The next one, and I was really really super high on him. Then. I remembered that Ryan Mathews got hurt, so I was looking at Donald Brown, and instantly, Donald Brown is a guy that will never be on my football team unless I am in serious fucking dire straits because I know who he is. It's not amazing sort of running back. And Danny Woodhead went down. It was the Danny Woodhead week that he went down. So I went to see who was sort of sitting there. And it was Branden Oliver was next on the list. So I started reading up, reading articles on him, and like everyone who fucking talks about this kid fucking loves him. I hear him talking about going to fucking University of Buffalo and having Heisman fucking mutterings. You do understand how good you have to be from the University of Buffalo and get fucking Heisman mutterings. Obviously, he wasn't invited, but, you know. So, again, I went to the video, and I was like, you know, just fucking Google his name.
No, I hear what you're saying, but again, I think you're looking at a different situation than somebody that already was set at running back. I mean, my running backs are leaps and bounds above yours, and then you can
for sure.
But here, and so you're in that unique position, but I wasn't. So the other side of it is like kind of what Keith talked about and he alluded to in the beginning is it's the same thing as the Cleveland situation for me. Like there's Oliver outside of this one game. Like if he does it again, like against Oakland, which is possible, but I don't think But I don't think he'll actually do that much damage. You know what I mean? But the other side of it is, look, you know, he has to blow the world away to keep Ryan Mathews on the sideline. It's just like the whole Ben Tate thing. I mean, Crowell and all that did the same thing.
He's only blown anyone away, though. Neither one of Isaiah Crowell or fucking Terrence Mathews have done anything remotely close to what fucking Branden Mathews did this week. Nothing even close. They're not in the same fucking stratosphere. He is. I'm telling you, he has a different fucking mindset. He has that next level mindset that just really good running backs don't have. I'm telling you.
Well, I hear what you're saying about the mindset, but the mindset isn't going to keep him on the field. The coaches are going to put Mathews back out there, and it's going to be a timeshare.
If LaDainian Tomlinson was a no-name fucking dude, he would have ended up getting time and fucking stole whatever job from any fucking person behind him outside of, like, Marshall Faulk of his time. I'm telling you. He is that good. He balls. He is fast. He is powerful. He puts the moves on fucking dudes that, you know, he doesn't need an amazing...
That sounded gay. I don't want to cut you off, but
he said put the moves on dudes.
I'm not no homo, and I'm not. I don't mind. You know, do whatever you want. I'm just saying the way you say.
But what I'm saying is, look, you can.
I guess here's the thing. Like I hear what you're saying, and like you have this enthusiasm for him because he's on your team and all this good stuff, and I get it. You know, that kind of stuff. But I mean, we've seen this kind of stuff happen before, and you know, running backs just don't become bell cows anymore. Just like Keith said, they just.
This is what I'm telling you.
They don't.
That's what I'm saying. He is the Mike Turners of the world. He is the.
Yeah, Michael Turner still had somebody getting carries with him too.
Well, no, not when he first went to Atlanta. He was the guy.
That was his second.
You know what I call this? What he's doing right now? You know what I call this? I call this Joe-lusional. Because it's something that Joe does that only, cause I've known Joe for many, many years, probably 20 plus or, you know, 15 to 20 years. And it's not delusional because it's not crazy. They wouldn't lock him up for it. He's Joe-lusional. It's something that he believes. Yeah. And it's not.
You're right. It is.
Here's the problem that I feel.
Delusions of grandeur is what it is.
Delusions.
In my delusionalness, I will say that for years, these guys say exactly these things to all the guys that I've sort of introduced them to. I introduced Keith to fucking Arian Foster, whether he wants to fucking admit it or not. I introduced him to Priest Holmes. I introduced him to Larry fucking Johnson. I introduced him to fucking Julio Jones. I've
never had any of these people on my team. That's what's even funnier about it.
I don't think you get Julio Jones because everybody thought Julio Jones was going to be good.
I've introduced you to
and everybody thought Larry Johnson.
I literally introduced you to Julio Jones his fucking senior year of high school, and I said this kid is going to fucking Alabama. He's a fucking monster. You know, you can't say that I haven't. So you can.
I can't argue with that.
Huh?
Look, and this just brings me back to my original point that can we somehow get you into the NFL? Because I want to be a billionaire.
I don't
freaking bad.
I don't want. Look, delusional. There's only certain guys that Javid Best is another one. I was massively fucking delusional over fucking Javid Best.
Yeah, you were.
There you go.
But can you fucking deny that when he was playing, he was the best fucking running back in football? Like, leaps and bounds.
I
don't know if
think
he's
they
the
were
best
better
running
running
back in
backs.
He was
football,
the
but
best fucking. He was the most dynamic, most LT-esque. When I think of fantasy football, the tip top of the tippy tip, Marshall Faulk and LaDainian Tomlinson are the two running backs that I think of when I think of those silly sort of seasons that year in and year out, you're just like, I do not want to play LT. I do not want to play Marshall Faulk. I do not want to play. Mike Turner had 1 year. Sean Alexander had 1 year. There's a lot of guys that had those years, but you compare them to Marshall Faulks and the LTs of the world. And I'm telling you right now, Branden Oliver, if he stays healthy, will be as good, if not better, than the Fortes, the
Slow down.
the.
Slow down.
I'm telling you. And you'll see. Either he will or he won't. But just do me a favor and watch the fucking rewind tape. Just watch every one of his plays, and you tell me that he doesn't have that sort of fucking secondary vision that, if he stays...
Slow down.
Exactly.
Slow down.
Wait.
I was trying to pull that up too.
Real quick, what do we got going for the rest of this show? Out of curiosity, because this game's about to end. Like, what's
Well, I think we need to talk about what we're going to talk about in later shows, so people have that all. They can look forward.
I want to just bring up something if we're kind of breaking away real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess this is technically like an anti shout out to our homeboys over at Fantasy Football Pod, but I just want to kind of go over.
Wait, Fantasy
real quick.
FFB Insider Pod?
Yeah, your boys. We had a sort of little tweet beef, I guess. Maybe Joe did. I kind of was just, chatting. Joe got a little bit angry. But I actually have one of the tweets here where they named all the guys over Kelsey. And, I mean, I know they're saying moving forward for the season, but I figured it'd be kind of fun if we went over each one, see what their stat line was, and see, like, how good they really did.
Yeah, I got the stats right here.
Yeah, I pulled up the tweet. I guess we'll go just standard scoring.
Just go to 1-1.
All right. I mean, literally, these are the people they listed over. So you want to give a quick rundown without getting too angry and a little bit quick about what the whole argument was over, actually? I think you should do that to set it up. Before.
Yeah, let's just do the rundown real quick.
Yeah, we definitely got to mention hot garbage and all that. Like, I mean,
possible. Just to mention the fact that they called Travis Kelce hot garbage on their podcast, and I feel like it was released the morning after the initial Twitter beef, so it makes me feel like he called him hot garbage directly at the average Joe.
It was directly after the argument with Joe. I don't want to say with us because it's not like we were teaming up on him. I just asked who they would like better than Kelsey, and I think Kelsey's good. And if you watched any tape on the guy, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. So we'll go from there. We think Kelsey is obviously better than most, and they thought, Joe, take it away.
They thought otherwise. Okay, so
we have tons of tweets back and forth. We don't want to get too into it. We're not dragging anyone's name through the mud. We're even giving them a shout out. What they do there is good. We just have a disagreement in this situation. We disagree on this.
Twitter. And you know what? He's taking the fucking diplomatic route of this.
I am very diplomatic.
I'm sorry. If you go to the podcast,
don't go there. Stop.
Fantasy Football Insiders podcast reviews. You got more 1s than 5s, so eat a dick. Go fuck yourself. So.
All right, let's just go through the list real quick.
This is what I said.
We gotta wrap this show up real quick.
Wait. This is what I said. I said FF Insider Pod. Unless y'all are playing in 6-team league with 0 bench spots, Kelsey should have been rostered weeks ago. Hashtag, what the fuck are you doing? Right. Fantasy Football Pod. We use hard stats for our waiver ads. No, wait. Sorry. I did the wrong word. We use hard stats for our waiver ads. Kelsey is the top T8 in thousands of Yahoo L leagues and still only 77% owned. So I said, one of 3 of you said you wouldn't bother. Either you're not watching the games or you're drunk. Hashtag fantasy football beat. Has no track record. Depending on who you own, barely a top 10 tight end. 7th is barely. Leads Casey in targets and yards by 100 plus. Not being rostered in bum leagues is no excuse to not watch the games. I wouldn't be surprised if you're still starting Witten and Grumble Gates. Fantasy football. You sound like a KC fan. Good one. Either that or someone who doesn't get my fantasy football insight from the USA Today preseason edition. Seriously, you're hilarious. You think your lack of skills is what has you at 0-4 in a listener league? You don't like the show analysis. Why do you listen? And a shout out to Keith, Keith FFB Pro on Twitter for this one. Mine were apparently way meaner than this. He's like, well, who doesn't slow down and stare at the accidents? Hashtag rubbernecking. Seriously, though, if you wouldn't add someone who's barely top 10, even owning Graham, you're probably a terrible fantasy football GM. I added that part, sorry. Word of advice, if you want people to respect your opinion, you should be respecting yourself. Disagree. There's a line.
The next tweet after this one was my favorite, and I'm going to hop to the next one. But then...
You should see the tweets I didn't send yet. I hurt your feelings, but don't claim quote-unquote premium, then not watch fantasy football.
He said, "Don't." You should see the tweets I didn't send yet. I saw them. I'm not even going to mention them here, but to jump forward real quick, I then, to play good cop, jumped in and said, my point was if you put him in the top 10 or 12 tight ends, I basically asked them who they would start over them. So if you put him in the top 12 tight ends, then he's a must start and must be rostered. So then they wrote back to me a bunch of guys that they would start. So we're going to tell you right now who they would put in. And I just want to see how, at least for this week, he kind of matched up versus these guys. John, you got the stats, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then he tweeted back at both of us, Bennett, Martellus Bennett.
He didn't do
shit. Let's start off with Kelsey. Kelsey in Standard League got, what, 8.2 or something like that?
No, 7.5. He only had 15 yards and a touchdown.
Okay, 7.5. Okay.
7.5.
Right.
7.5.
That's 2 touchdowns in a row.
That's not terrible, but at the same time, that's not great.
3 touchdowns in 3 consecutive weeks. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it's important.
Yeah, but we're not
saying. That's not even that right, but that's not even that good. So I wanted to see how these other guys felt like stood up towards him. So he had a subpar game. So let's go Martellus Bennett. What did he score?
Let's see. He didn't do anything in a game where they scored a lot of points. He had 17 yards.
Okay, so he did worse. So there's one guy right there they already did worse. Mm-hmm. How about Donnell? Because Donnell was the next guy they listed.
He's statless.
Statless. Not one stat? So did he beat Kelsey or no? I was just curious. Statless is bad, right?
Statless is bad.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure.
He had as many yards today as Tony Gonzalez. And
okay.
He had as many as Kellen Winslow.
Yeah, Kellen Winslow Sr. and Jr.
Walker. I guess they're talking about Delaney Walker.
He had like 47 yards today.
Okay, so
Did he have a touch? Didn't he have a touch or no?
No, I think they called it back or something like that.
So that's so far 3 of their guys have now come under hot garbage.
Wait.
These are their top guys that they named.
What's his exact number?
It was 47 yards or some shit. I'm telling you. He had like 4 points.
47.
I don't know the exact numbers. Was it 47?
Yeah, it was 47.
Yeah. Okay. Jordan Cameron.
He didn't do anything. 33 yards.
33 yards.
3.3. So far, I think we're just getting over these. All 4 of these guys combined now just broke over what Kelsey got on a subpar game.
Right.
All right. So the next guy would be Gronk. He's still playing. I think he had a monster game.
Yeah, he's got 100 yards and a touchdown.
Right. Well, I mean, come on, he's Gronk. I mean, I'm never gonna say that Kelsey's better than Gronk, but at this point. But I'm just saying that they're similar players.
Stay on the limb and say that
they're similar players. That's the first one they got right, and that's like a fucking phone it in. Gronk, come on, that's like saying,
Gronk, if Kelsey was in the what's the murderer in Hernandez?
Aaron Hernandez.
If he was in the murderer spot in second tight end, actually I'm calling the second tight end slot murderer's row.
Murderers Row. Only for the Patriots or for every team?
Kelsey's in Murderers Row because Fasano seems to be the number one tight end there. But if he was in Murderers Row for the Patriots, he would have Gronk-esque numbers. They would be.
I mean, Tim Wright I think has 2 touchdowns this game.
Like 45 right now.
Tim Wright has 1 touchdown.
Tim Wright has 1 touchdown. All right, let's keep going. Going.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, so now we have Zach Ertz.
No, we already saw what he did. Nothing.
Right.
So,
Nothing. Right. What did he do though, roughly?
39 yards.
All right, it's important to know exact stats because these guys are so good. You want to start him over this guy. I mean, this is
so good.
Antonio Gates. I think he actually did have a pretty good game. Antonio
Yes, he did.
Gates.
88 and 60 and 2 actually.
Wait, who's this? Gates?
60 and he had 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
Okay, so he scored
18.
18.
Yeah.
Wait, just really quick. What do you like better? I Ertz myself today, or Ertz so good. Ertz so good.
Did you say they're both bad?
Yeah, Ertz so bad.
I'm going with 9 Inch Nails. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. Just because it's like.
Okay, so Ertz so good. Gates. 8 at 18. Who's next?
Olsen. I think he did have a good game too.
He was a top fantasy tight end of the day. 72.
Okay, so he was the best top 10. He was the
72
best.
touches?
What?
72 and 2 touches?
Yeah.
19 points?
Yeah. Kelsey was number 8 on the day, by the way. Not to.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. Okay. I'm just going over their list.
Well, yeah.
But no, Kelsey being at number 8 kind of just proves our point. I mean, if you're in a 12-team league, you shouldn't be in a 10-team league anyway. JT had a monster game. I don't.
Because JT's JT. What do you
JT had the satanic stat line today. 6 catches. 6 catches for 66 yards.
Wow, that's kind of scary.
0.6 and a touch, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 2 touches, actually.
2 touches. So he had 18.8.
Yeah.
18.6.
And then Davis, which was Vernon Davis, didn't even play.
Vernon Davis didn't
play.
Didn't even play. Mm-hmm. So that's their stat line. We got 1 bomb, 2 bombs, 3, 4, 5.
Jimmy Graham too.
Wow, look at Jeremy Hill.
They didn't even put Jimmy Graham on this list, which is really baffling to me.
They didn't even put Jimmy Graham on the list?
Well, because they probably figured it auto.
No, we said who would you start them over? They name all these people, and they didn't put Jimmy Graham on the list, which that right now that I just realized that means that you're bums.
Jimmy Graham only had 36 yards today.
Yeah,
him. You got to put Jimmy Graham on the list, even though they didn't, because he's a top tight end in every league. You're not starting him.
I don't know why they did.
And I said that Kelsey. They tried to put my feet to the fire, and that's where I put Kelsey. And I said I put him in the 5-ish range, and I put Bennett at the moment. I put Bennett, JT,
Gronk,
and
Graham.
Graham, and I sort of put Gronk in there, but I didn't, simply because Gronk was playing sort of uninspired football. I think they do the same things right now, and I was hoping Andy Reid would fucking crank that up a bit, and he didn't at all. He didn't really get the ball even in the direction of Travis Kelce. But at the same time, San Francisco's sort of linebackers, I think, are 2nd or 3rd in the league against tight ends. So,
they are.
So
I want to say one more thing. I mean, I know these guys were talking about the tweets being over like the season and like a larger sample size. They weren't talking about this week. I don't want anyone to get the misconception that we're trying to pick on these guys or anything. I know Joe is very, angry at them calling. They actually had a segment on their show where they called Kelce hot garbage, which is just, it's so asinine at this point to even think that this guy's hot garbage. Where if we did this every week, I guarantee that he's going to be in the top 10 more often than he's going to be outside of the top 10.
Right.
And it just goes to show you that, like, I don't know. Not everyone's going to get everything right all the time, but just to call Kelce unrosterable or hot garbage is just insane. Again, just want to point out they did not mean for just this week.
I don't want them to take the wrong idea and be like, oh, they
Here's the thing. You're
misconstrued
not
our
taking
words.
into consideration the simple thing that is, you have to fucking be watching football. You just have to be watching football. If you were watching football, you couldn't fucking possibly call Kelsey hot garbage.
I think what this really also boils down to is that you should be following us on Twitter and not other people.
Well, yeah, you definitely need to follow us on Twitter. So, Joe No FFB Pro at Twitter, Keith FFB Pro at Twitter, and J Mills with a Z, JMILLZ FFB Pro at Twitter.
Listen, if you want to be behind the times and literally know about this guy like 3 weeks after everyone's picked him up, then by all means listen to some other people out there in the Twitterverse.
But
and
we were talking about Branden Oliver, and this is the podcast that you listen to when you want the guy before everyone hears about the guy. That is how you play the waiver wire in fantasy football. You get the guy before everybody wants him. And the thing that you get in such a great position because right now I'm in the Branden Oliver position. I love him, and I'm not going to trade him for anything because I'm going to sort of let it ride out.
You don't have a choice. You're 1-5. You got to ride or die with him.
I've run into
1-4. Why does everyone keep trying to add?
Sorry, he's 1-4. Sorry.
DeMarco Murray. I got DeMarco Murray as a rookie, and he got hurt. But he is doing exactly what I thought he was. It just happens to me all the time where I get guys before their time, but there's also a lot of times where I get them exactly when they're fucking blowing up. And I can't. I believe in his potential more than the average bear. Now, for example, let's say Antone Smith. I love Antone Smith like a motherfucker. I really don't want to trade him. Like, I'd much rather. I can name a bunch of fucking running backs that I'd rather trade than Antone Smith. But no one really loves him as much as I do because he's not getting the touches. If someone were to love him as much as I do, they would give me a lot more than the average bear. And I would. He's one of those guys that you can't fucking lowball me to get him off my team. You know what I'm saying? You can't offer me fucking Vincent Jackson for Antone Smith and me
Oh, you want Vincent Jackson's a beast.
I don't want Vincent Jackson that much that I'm going to take up. I'm going to give away the potential. And Branden Oliver, for example,
the lottery ticket, as we told.
I've got him fucking so high up there that you're going to have to fucking give me the sexiest deal in the world. And one of the good things about getting these guys is that unless I tell you how I feel about them, you don't know whether you're getting a great deal in my mind or not. I could be, if someone were to offer me a fucking massive shitload for Branden Oliver, I could be bullshitting right now and saying, I love him so much, but I love a lot of guys that I so much that I've had because they're trade bait. That's what I'm serious. I'm serious. Like,
I'm laughing at a comment I saw somewhere on the
Branden Oliver is not trade bait. Slurpfest. Name of the show. Branden Oliver Slurpfest. I mean, call it what you want. But
I am going to go with that. You've been talking about him the whole.
But I fucking called his name out fucking 3 weeks ago when it
Can you please name this episode "We Got BO"?
Yeah.
You have to at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like you could,
I'm just saying. I just hope that he
got
keeps
BO.
performing
Like
great.
got milk and got MILF. Just got BO.
Here's the thing. Here's what happened. Here's what.
Joe has BO.
Fantasy
That's what we'll call it.
Joe got BO edition.
Yeah, Joe
Oh
has
my
BO.
God.
And he won't shut
Yo,
up.
I just what's that one song? Joe B.O. B.O.
Stupid.
Free agent.
March Day.
Anyway, like I said, I hope for your sake that Branden Oliver keeps doing what he's doing because at 1-4, if he doesn't and you lose another game, then I don't even know what you have left to stand on.
On the exact opposite foot, Andre Ellington had a good game today, and I'm ready to ship that MFer off. I am all about selling high. I believe in
exactly.
I will ship him off quicker than you could say.
You're exactly making my point. Like right now,
I'm going to ship
value in the world that
I'm going to ship for Brandon Marshall.
You're shipping on Marshall?
What's that?
You're shipping Andre Ellington for Brandon Marshall?
I'm going to try to.
See, if I didn't need a receiver, I would do that.
I'm going to totally do that.
I might be able to do Ellington and Cobb and get like Brandon Marshall and someone. If do that, Brandon Marshall's in trouble.
Can we look at who has?
I know who has him.
Just because this guy wanted a running back, and he's probably going to pick up one of the hot scrubs on there. But I'm gonna flow Ellington out there for Marshall and his scrub, and then throw in somebody.
This show's basically coming down close to an end. I'm probably about to get killed. My wife hung up like a scary head. I wish I could show you the head. Hold on. You know what? I'll go get the head just because. I'll show you the head she hung up because I think if anyone can see this, they would enjoy it. Hold on.
All right. Brandon Marshall is owned by God Hates Us All in our league, and
but I think I'm gonna do that deal though, because then I can just roll with Miller and there you go.
Oh shit! I'm spilling shit. There's accidents happening. Yeah. She has us up like staring at me for like the last hour.
Put your head down real quick.
My head?
Stop getting head.
I had to get some head.
The guy who has Brandon Marshall has Fred Jackson, who's hurt.
Right.
More than a simple injury. In my eyes, the motherfucker, they were praying around him. That's not what happens when you fucking sprain your ankle.
Right. He's got Eddie Lacy, who finally had a good game.
Riley Cooper, Vincent Jackson, Gronk. Solves your I'm a terrible tight end fucking GM.
I've been thinking about, that's what I'm saying. I drop a fucking
Chris Johnson,
Ellington and Cobb for Ellington and Cobb and his choice of, I don't know, somebody else. One of my running backs for fucking Gronk and Marshall.
Oh, Gronk and Marshall.
Yeah, I go for the gusto.
You don't believe in Lacy?
What?
You don't believe in Lacy at all?
I like Lacy a lot. I just don't think he'd give him up. And my team with Marshall buying low and having Marshall, Demaryius Thomas, and Antonio Brown, along with Gronk as my tight end and whoever else, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Dude, I'll be so upset. Dude, I'll be so mad. I'm sorry. Look, okay, so another fantasy football principle. Dude, it's one of those games. Sorry, guys. It's one of those episodes where I'm trying to teach people how to be a GM. People in my league hate me. They don't like making trades with me because I win and I talk shit. It's not just the winning part; it's the winning and then reminding them that I've won the most Super Bowls. I've been to the most Super Bowls. You know, I've won the most divisions. I made the playoffs the most consecutively, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they don't necessarily like trading with me. But the problem is when I make trades that are fair for both teams, whereas they are so eager to not trade with me that they get raped by people. You know, they get raped and they fucking get the Shady McCoys and the fucking Victor Cruzes for Demaryius Thomas and
right. You got to kill him. Here's the thing: you got to kill him with kindness. Number one, and number two, he offered that shit to me.
That's crazy to me. Did he leave?
I assume he left by accident because we didn't close it out. But
yeah, there he is. But that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess you can kill him with kindness, or you can kill him with, you know, legit trades.
As soon as he typed to me, I wish I could tell you the exact correspondence, but his first was shady question mark. As soon as he typed shady question mark, in my mind, I was getting whatever I wanted from him. Because that meant, hey, I really like Shady. I want to buy low. You know, I have some guys that you can buy low on. And I was like, you know, it started out with Demaryius wasn't even in the trade. Like,
what was the first trade? I'm super curious.
You really want to know? I mean,
I'm curious only because it ended up being such a lopsided trade for you that.
I mean, I can tell you the exact correspondence. Like, there's actually a lot of funny stuff we said afterwards about like.
About me and how they're like,
no,
yeah, I made your team so much better. Here you go. Okay, we could split the league.
No, it started off Shady ? He works at a place called the Old Ale House. It's a beef place. I wrote 4 beefs in he's yours. and a continental fry. He wrote, I'll give you 5 at a large continental fry. I wrote, LOL. I said, make a real offer. I'm willing to trade the shade. See, I like to get happy. See how happy I am with this? I'm not talking shit. I'm making rhymes.
Ye Old Ale House, Lafayette Hills, Pennsylvania. Fucking best beef.
He says, just starting out with this, so feel free to say no and counter. Shady, Cruz, and Curly, Ellington, Welker, Bolden. So my first thought is, I don't give a fuck about Bolden. Get him the hell out of my face. I said Shady, Cruz, Curly, Demaryius, Ellington, Bolden has a nicer ring to it. See how nice I was? I was pleasant there, people. I threw a little joke in there. He said, I don't want to get rid of DT. We wrote that at exactly the same time. So if there's any way to get Shady without him, and we both wrote LOL and LMAO at exactly like...
So they were basically helping each other's dicks and kind of blowing... like.
No, and then he wrote Demaryius, Ellington, and Knicks for Shady, Cruz, and Cameron. That was exactly the next text after the LOL kind of jinx text.
Wait. Say it again.
Demaryius, this is what ended up the trade. Demaryius, Ellington, Knicks for Shady, Cruz, Cameron. He wrote that to me.
No. Pause right there.
Okay.
Would you agree that when you see that text come into your phone, you're fucking getting a little fucking aroused? You're like, I do not want to fuck this trade.
I don't want. I look at it like I would equate it to I am now a fisherman, and I know I got a hit on my line, but I don't want to miss it. If I pull too hard or I don't pull hard enough, my fish is gone, and then I'm like sitting there with
the club or at the bar, and you're talking.
Right, you got. This is all text, so like I gotta really love that.
Either back or you can say something stupid where she's not going to talk to you for the rest of the night. And right now he's trying not to stick his hand down her pants. But go ahead.
So then he writes, Demaryius already had a buy, so that's huge for you, which he's still trying to sell me on.
Still trying to sell it to you, dude.
So at this point, like, I know I got him. I wrote, I don't hate that trade. I know that Shady is going to... And then I wrote, I know that Shady is going to blow up as soon as I trade him.
How to fucking play fantasy football. He is literally going to the Joe Nars.
The correspondence of this is really funny, though, right?
Can you at least acknowledge that this is the Joe Nars school of fantasy football GMing?
The only thing I can say is these are all the things that this motherfucker says to me that I don't listen to, but then use on other people and they work. That's what I'll say.
Wait.
Because these are all things you said to me. You're like, Des. Like, it's the same thing. You try to, like, sell me Des. And then earlier today you were about to drop Des, so I don't even want to hear it.
I'm still dropping Des. Fuck Des. Not Des.
Wait,
but again, acknowledge that you learned how to play fantasy football through me, from me. I taught you how to play.
I like to think we learn together is what I like to say. That's what I tell people. When people tell me, like, they're like, you and Joe, he taught you how to play, I go, nah, we learn together. And they're like, oh, I see. I'm actually asked that like 3 times a day.
Is that while I'm there because he knows that?
Wait, so John, do you think that anything I did in this, like, I mean, you heard the exact correspondence. I don't hate the trade. I know Shady is going to blow up as soon as I trade him, but I hate him just so much right now. I hear you, but you still have Sproles. LOL. Are you interested in trading him? Yeah, I'm contemplating your offer. I hope Shady dies. I wasn't going to even take him, and Elgin was like, you're going to love him. This all happened. And I have seen nothing. Blah, 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 blah.
You used the I hate this guy, I want him off my team route.
Yeah, I mean, I told him the truth. I think he said I have him too in C2C, which is another league I'm in with him. He's like, I feel the same way. He said, I hope he blows up, but if. And I said, no, it's when. I kind of like, made it sound like he's definitely going to blow up. And then he said, well, I'm trading something for something. Let me know, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, I'll let you know. And then we stopped. We didn't talk for like probably... I'm getting a weird echo now.
Yeah, yeah.
No, fine.
I'm coming through like...
All right. Well, good show.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, literally then, like, maybe an hour later, if that, I wrote, fuck it, let's do it. And that was pretty much the end of it. He sent it to I hit accept.
Okay, I want you to walk through the sort of thought process for the audience of like how like you waited an hour for a reason. You clearly saw you wanted this trade so bad. Was the hour calculated or was
Definitely.
it?
I mean, I don't know if it was an exact hour, but look, bottom line is if you really want to make a fantasy trade and you say yes, let's do it, everyone's going to be like, wait a minute, do you know something I don't know? I mean, it's very rare that you're going to be able to just, you got to contemplate. And even if that makes them contemplate on it, it doesn't matter. You just have to, contemplate for at least 20 minutes and then say, all right, I'm probably willing to do it kind of thing. I've never got one done where I'm like, fuck it, let's do it right now. It's very rare. Unless it's like, come on, let's do it. You know you want to do it. Come on. And eventually they're just like, all right, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wait. Okay, so wait. John wants to get out of here, so let's end this show. Keith, do you have like 10, 15 minutes to do like a little after-hours conception show?
What time is it?
It's 8:55 right now.
Yeah, let's just end this one and give me like a second to run upstairs and make sure everyone's like sleeping and shit, but we should be able to.
I can't do that. What I'm going to do is let's just get John off the show
and
then we'll finish this one. No. We'll just finish it on here. Yeah.
All right, cool.
It's just going to be an extra after hours. So,
Good show.
Thanks, John. J Mills.
No problem, man.
Tons of points for this week for this motherfucker. Congratulations.
That's it.
John, it must be good to be John right now.
Why so hey, wait, hasn't everybody like hit the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, when you're the average Joes, you win points. You're above average in your fucking league because you start thinking differently. You think fantasy football in terms of how to win, not just how to play. So
that's it.
Thanks, John.
No problem. Later,
brother.
All right, so what I wanted to talk to Keith about really quick was, I was just talking about the average Joes and, sort of our credentials, and what I wanted to sort of do was go over what Keith is to me in terms of fantasy football and probably what I am in terms of him in fantasy football. We started approximately at the same time, and we've been in multiple leagues, either versus each other or with each other. As he said before, he won a $10,000 Fox Sports, like literally the entire Fox Sports fantasy football challenge. And
sadly enough, they never did it again. I don't know exactly. I think I broke the computer.
He literally broke the game because he fucking crushed the league so miserably. So that's
like one of my bad runs. It was the best thing that could happen for me, but then like Fox never caught on, so that's like my luck. Like I would win 10,000, but they'd never catch on. Whereas if it was like CBS, like big league that I won 10,000, I'd be like a writer for CBS.
Fucking Jamie fucking Eisenberg or whatever.
I'm the broke Jamie Eisenberger, I think.
Exactly. So we've been in DOA together on CBS, which I think you would agree is probably the best. Still, despite all the problems we have with their layout now, the best fantasy football site across the board.
By far. I mean, their layout now that I'm getting used to it. I mean, it's just like any new system, new iOS, new anything. It's always like hard getting around. Once you figure it out, it's obviously better. They did it for a reason.
They want a better UX designer. My girl, give her a call. She's a UX designer at Amazon. She's a fucking monster. I'm not even joking. If she was the UX designer for fantasy football, that would be our end, and we would fucking monsterize the fucking world, the universe, because of our talent. But okay, so just to give a rundown, we've been in this league for probably 13 years now.
Since 2000 or 2001,
2000,
I think we started it.
We're on 13, 14 years.
But we were doing it like a couple years before that, but like kind of like not as serious.
Right.
I mean, and obviously we were like 18 or 19, I guess at the time.
Twice. You've won DOA twice.
I only won once. I've been to the Super Bowl numerous times. I don't really want to get into it.
I've been to about 3 or 4 Super Bowls. I've been to the most Super Bowls, 6 or 7. Super Bowls. I've won 3. Won a fucking ton of money.
Fantasy Bowls, Super Bowls, same difference. In case anyone wants to be
literally-
like, it's that Super Bowl.
There was a league where we joined the league and we drafted, and they didn't tell us until the 7th round of the draft that quarterbacks scored like running backs, meaning that every 10 yards they would get a point.
Huh.
So we're wondering why people are taking 1 and 2 quarterbacks in the first 6 rounds, and we're just like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, oh, we forgot to tell you, quarterbacks score like fucking running backs and wide receivers.
Which is retarded, just so you know, because they've changed it this year for the first year. This was like, I guess that's about 7 years ago now that we first joined it, and now they finally changed it. It took 7 years to...
So what happened was they let us know, 7th round, our pick, we take Ben Roethlisberger. And, we finished the rest of the draft fucking grumbling about the fact that, they have all these fucking quarterbacks. There was literally... There's a 12-team league. There's probably 15, 16 fucking running backs taken off the board at this point. We take Ben Roethlisberger, and our draft was so good for the rest of the league, and Ben Roethlisberger ended up being like a top 5, top 6 quarterback that year, that we ended up destroying the league. Our team was so good. Like, we had 2 top 3 wide receivers, 2 top 3 running backs, a top 5 tight end, a top 7 or 8 defense, and a top 2 or 3 kicker. And we just monsterized the team based on being more prepared than the next leagues. We won that league 3 years in a row. And it's a league that we don't even care about. So, and then there was another league that we were in, probably the worst league ever. Not Red's league, but Red has a tendency to get us roped into really horrible leagues that have...
I'd say it was the worst league ever, for sure.
There was
the worst league I was ever in. I never cared about it or wanted to be in it again. So
there was a rule in that league. Even though it was online, we had to somehow email our waiver wire picks in to
for a certain time because they had issues with it.
For a certain time, 1 week that something happened and they decided they were going to just do it by hand. So we were like, this league is stupid. We're not doing that. We're not following some stupid fucking waiver wire schedule. It's not the fucking 50s. And what happened was, during that season, our first two draft picks, which happened to be running backs.
I remember them, Deuce McAllister and Priest Holmes.
Priest Holmes and Deuce McAllister out for the year. And
I don't know what season that was,
a single ad drop all year except for one for a kicker.
Exactly.
One
ad drop.
Dropped the one that we drafted and picked up the new one, and we ran away with the league. We absolutely fucking dominated them. And
that was kind of fun. That was probably one of the funnest times to win.
It was one.
Did we do it? We did. I think we did it again, and then we lost. But it was one of those things where we felt like we kind of had to try to repeat, but we should have just went out on a winning note. I think.
Right. We sort of dropped.
We hated all the people. We didn't even know them. We should have just got out on a winning note.
We handed the mic over instead of dropping it by winning.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of the most fulfilling for sort of championships.
Oh, definitely.
And then there's countless other championships that we've won for either his wife in their league or, whoever we sort of fucking talk about fantasy football with. My
wife won 2 years ago in her league, ran away with it. I made a ridiculous trade. I can't really remember it, but it was retarded. And she's actually number 1 in her league this year. Last year we did not do so well. But, that's the break. She can't be good every year. Yeah. Things are going to happen.
Now, here's a question. Do you think you've always been a good sort of GM trader or not? Because, I remember that first year of DOA where I traded for Randy Moss and Marvin Harrison in the same week. Or not even in the same week, in the same hour, so that my wide receivers at the time were Torrey Holt, Randy Moss, and Marvin Harrison, who were 3 of the top 5 wide receivers in the league, with Marshall Faulk and, I don't know, someone fucking beastly at the time. And my team was just an absolute juggernaut, and I had Tony Gonzalez or Shannon Sharp at the time. But you sort of get... Is it a learned skill, or are people naturals, or is it sort
I
of
think
like
it's a little of both. I mean, it's kind of like selling. Like I mean, I sell for a living. I sell cell phones, whatever. I've sold insurance. I've done like crazy stuff. So I've always been in sales, I guess you could say. And I mean, realistically, it's kind of the same thing. You have to kind of you gotta like sell to people, but at the same time, like you almost have to, like I said, like I almost made him offer me the try I wanted, and I never really, you know what I mean? I said kind of like 2 words. We went over what the conversation was, how the rundown went down, and all I said was I like Demaryius better than Welker, and the next thing you know, he's offering me Demaryius Thomas, and it's like. I mean, sometimes you just have to go for it. Look, I tried to make 3 other trades after that where I was offering way too much. Like, I don't want to really get too crazy into it, but like, I was offering Ellington, their choice of Romo or Dalton, literally any one of my receivers. Not really Antonio Brown, but I have Antonio Brown, Demaryius Thomas at the time, and then Randall Cobb. So I was offering Cobb and Dwayne Allen, who's a decent tight end, for like, an upgraded quarterback, maybe like a Breeze or a Rodgers, and then like a bum. So I'm giving them like 4 guys that are all going to start. Realistically, the one guy that I would have made the trade with that has Breeze would
have won the week.
I don't know if he would have won the week, but I mean, he wouldn't trade me Drew Brees and Julius Thomas, who are his best 2 players. And I get that, but he's got Chris Ivory, Monty Ball, Talafiero, McKinnon. I mean, that's his running backs. I'm offering him Ellington or Forsett or, Lamar Miller. I'm giving him, like, good guys. I'm also giving him Romo or Dalton, whichever he wants. You know what I mean? They're going to be not as good as Breeze, obviously, but, I'm giving him Dwayne Allen, who's good. And I was willing to give up Cobb.
You know what the problem is with every one of those running backs that you named? They're all the fucking pundit sort of down players. People Lamar Miller for some reason. I love Lamar Miller. Who else did you say? Like Forsett. Forsett is clearly the guy that they love more than Taliaferro, but Taliaferro has a sexier name that people like to fucking trot out.
He sounds like a Taliaferro. I was gonna say like an Egyptian, like I don't know.
Who are the other guys?
I have Lamar Miller. I also have Ryan Mathews, who's hurt. Kyrie Robinson. Darren Sproles, Ellington. Like I'm literally, I was willing to give up any of them because I didn't really. I felt like there was basically, I have too many. You know what I mean? I have it to the point where like you
get rid of Ellington because let's make a trade. Can we make the first average Joe fantasy football trade? Let's talk.
I'm willing to trade it. I'm willing to trade Ellington. I surely am. But at this point,
what do you
I need quarterback or I need tight end. They are my two problems. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you don't really have any of them. You're kind of like set in the same ways I'm set. It's very hard for me to give you Ellington.
Not necessarily. Okay, how about this? Check this one out. How's this one fucking suit your fancy, motherfucker?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. How about I give you Matt Ryan.
Okay, I'm already liking this
Already
far.
listening?
I'm listening.
I'll give you Matt Ryan. And Travis Kelce.
Okay.
And running back and Carlos Hyde.
Okay. That's the first part I haven't liked, but go ahead.
What's your name?
Say what?
New Hope. I got to go to your team. I'll give you.
We're playing each other. How do you have to go to my team?
I forgot. For Andre Ellington and Demaryius Thomas, and one of your two quarterbacks.
See, why do you go after the 2 guys that scored like all the points? Like literally, I just got like.
Okay, or Antonio Brown.
I hate fantasy football.
I'd really rather have. I'm not giving up fucking Matt Ryan unless I get Demaryius Thomas. I'm sorry, and I always call him Demaryius, but he's Demaryius.
Yeah, I feel like I'm married to him at this point. At this point, the name A New Hope, everything that went down today, I feel like it's that like my team is a team of destiny at this point. Like
I want to throw up.
I'm not even trying to talk shit. Like
simply because Demaryius Thomas, dude, I'm telling you,
That is ridiculous.
he was my guy. He was the number one running back in my head.
You mean
Number one.
Mauricio?
Like, I put him ahead of fucking Calvin. I put him ahead of the Jordys. And I put Jordy at 3, 4, 5. I put Julio at 2, 3, 4. And I wasn't super high on Calvin Johnson. I feel like
I really like Calvin Johnson, but here's the
I
thing.
love
Like,
Calvin. I've won
his stats are going to be completely skewed because he scored 50, but I mean, his other games, he had 4.8 the first game, 12.2, 5.1, and then went on by. So I can understand why Matty kind of wanted to trade him. I'll be honest with you, we might have made the trade the week before, but we played each other the week befed So he probably would have traded me Demaryius then and not have to deal with the bye. But I think it got to that point where like he wanted to trade somebody anyway, and you know how Matty is. Matty
never happens this week. You hit the fucking you hit the trade lottery.
I can't. It's never happened to me before. But yeah,
here's the thing.
I can't beat you without it. It literally is the only way I can beat you.
You're the only person that can beat me, and I didn't make any fucking transactions this week. Except for picking up a defense that scored 26, and I think that's pretty much it. And a wide receiver who didn't do dick.
I mean, I would have done anything I could to trade the Shady from my team, though. I might even have traded with you if you still wanted to do the Des Bryant thing. You probably wouldn't have.
No.
But if we would have somehow done a trade, which we might have been able to get through because you might have thought, I don't know how well, you might not have, but I'm saying you did want Shady. Like,
I would give up.
week 2.
I would probably still to this minute, because he still sort of has that gravitational pull on me. I would probably do it straight up at this point, even now, but that's only because I've got. You know what? I wouldn't do it. I thought that I had more out of CPAP than I do. I don't believe
CPAP's hurt too. I mean,
the hip thing, schmip thing. He didn't have a hip thing prior to this game, and he hasn't done shit since the first week. They're not even giving him the ball in terms of handoffs.
I got Hakeem Nicks. He's available. I mean,
I'm not giving you. I think of Hakeem Nicks as
he's droppable. Honestly, he really is in my opinion.
He's like a player in Scuds that is just running around with no energy, and you're literally waiting for a gust of wind. Scuds is Command and Conquer, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Scuds, where it's just like you're sitting there and he has zero energy. It's a red little fucking titty hair of a energy thing, and the next bullet that gets him, he's done, and he is that guy sort of shuffling around waiting to be done. And by done, I mean not getting you fantasy football points on a regular basis. I mean, do you disagree in any way?
No.
You have to take the Hakeem Nickses of the world to get the
terrible
Demaryius Thomases and the.
I mean, look at his game log. You know, he got 9.6. Then the next game, he had 3 targets, 1 reception for -4 yards. That's just a terrible stat line for. He probably wouldn't be doing that bad for that, because then the next game he had 11. So, I mean, I guess technically, if he would have just got like maybe 5 or 6 points that second game, he wouldn't be that bad. But then the next 2 games, 1.2 and 2.9. I mean, he's obviously just not. He doesn't know the playbook that well, I would assume. Like, there's a lot of problems with it.
Not even the 3A. He's the 3B right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's droppable. He was a guy that was on my team because of that trade. I would rather have Devin Hester in my lineup, honestly, than him at this point.
Right. Do you think it was dropping Vereen?
I would have probably held on to Vereen. I mean, I don't know who else you could have dropped. Right. See, the problem was you went a little too crazy on the Thursday night rules, I think. You know what I mean?
Right. So you're saying, well, that was the thing.
Yeah. No, I like. There's no reason for Jarius Wright to really be on your team. And
here's the thing. I have a problem. If there was a guy on the waiver wire that who am I dropping? Jarius Wright or CPAP? Right now, I'm dropping CPAP. Not even joking. Jarius Wright is getting more targets just as in the game.
I guess at this point, yeah, CPAP really only had that one good game.
You can't start explosions.
No, you're right. I mean,
you can just have them and sort of trade them.
Look, CPAP, same thing I told you all year. He doesn't have a quarterback. I don't know if fucking Bridgewater's going to be the answer or not, but they don't have a good situation there. And then with the Adrian Peterson thing, that wasn't good. That You taught me fucking never deal with a team in turmoil, and that team is in like turmoil. You know what I mean? It's just as soon as they said Adrian Peterson was coming out and their quarterback was Teddy Bridgewater, it's like I want nothing to do with anyone on their team, honestly.
Here's the
They
thing.
might do well.
What about the Ravens? What about Steven Smith? He's doing well. Justin Forsett's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, but Justin Forsett, honestly, like
I'm
I
just
had
playing
him on my
devil's
team.
advocate. I mean, I agree with you.
No, I had Justin Forsett. He scored the exact same points as Kerry Robinson. I got lucky on that one, but like he didn't score a touchdown until the end of the game. He was actually having like a pedestrian type day.
Right. He scored in OT.
But realistically, like their offense isn't that good. I mean, Joe Flacco had a monster game last week. Everyone that plays me has monster weeks. It's retarded. Joe Flacco's stat line 9.7. Okay. 9.7. I'll go through all his stat lines. His first game, 32 points. Okay, that's decent. Then he had 20. Then he had 15. Then he has 43 versus me, which is ridiculous. And then he has 9.7. It's just like, what is he going to score more of? Is he going to score more of the 43s, or is he going to score more of the 30s and below? Obviously, the 30s and below.
Steve Smith?
No, I'm talking about Joe Flacco. That was his stat line. I'm just using Joe Flacco.
For sure.
I'm just using Joe Flacco as an example because we were talking about that team like kind of having like a tumultuous kind of bad thing going on, and they really ain't doing that good. How are the Ravens doing overall? I don't even know what their team stat is as a team. I can't imagine it being that good. They're probably like
they just lost to
50-50 at best.
Didn't they lose to Carolina today? I don't really know.
No, they played Indy and they lost to Indy today, but I don't know. I just don't know what their overall record is now, is what I'm saying. But I mean,
if I had to guess, I'd say 2-3 or 1.
Right, at the most 3-2, but probably not even that. I'm just saying, like, tumultuous teams, stay away from them. Honestly, if you live a fantasy life away from tumultuous teams, most of the time you do well. Let the other guys deal with those people that are just not gonna do well.
So who's
actually Baltimore? I'm talking all that shit, and Baltimore's 3-1 now, so I guess I'm an idiot. But
who's the tumultuous team that we were just talking about besides the Ravens? Where I was talking about, you were talking about, CPAP.
Yeah.
The thing with CPAP, and I'll never trade Keith CPAP because we talk too much, and he knows how I feel about him at this point.
I'm waiting for you to drop him, and I'm just going to try to get him.
Well, okay, that's not going to happen, but what I will do is I'll wait for him to blow up. Hopefully, if he blows up 1 week, he's off my fucking team. That's the bottom line. If he blows up,
high.
and here's the thing, and I'm going to try to trade him in that week as hard as I can. And Keith, don't be a dick and tell everybody that I'm just trying to trade him. And this is the problem with that.
I mean, I hope if they listen to our podcast, that'd be awesome.
What you sort of do is you sabotage other people's trades to make your own.
I'm not really a trade sabotager. I mean, there's certain times where I try to offer more if I can.
Right.
I mean, I'll try to outdo the other person, but I won't really be like.
Well, my point is,
you're an idiot.
I'm going to get rid of him for as much as I possibly can, and before the second week hits, because when the second week hits and he goes back to CPAPness, then his value is shitty again. But if he can have 2 in a row that are
at this point, I mean, you're in a rough situation. Are you going to try to trade Oliver and Tate this week, or are you selling high on them, or are you just sold on them?
Not selling high on either one of them.
So you're sold on them. They're just your guys.
They're my guys. Yeah. Right now.
I like Tate. I told you at the beginning of the year I like Tate, and I was actually mad when he got hurt because every time I make some kind of prediction on a guy, it seems like that happens. But I told you if Ben Tate did not get hurt, he was going to have a really good year this year.
Yeah, and I agree.
The problem is, right, I know, but the problem is ever since I said that, he went out the absolute first game and only scored 4 fantasy points. So I looked like I thought more of his stat lines were going to be like they were today, like 22 rushes, $123, maybe a touchdown thrown in there.
Yeah, and they actually played pretty good run defense this week.
That was actually a pretty sick comeback. They were down 23 to or 21-0 or some shit, or 20.
They're like the 7th or 8th. Yeah, it was actually the biggest comeback ever for a road team in playoff in the regular season.
I think that if St. Louis would have come back on the Eagles, it would have been the biggest comeback ever. So
there's only 3 running backs on my team right now that are not on the block, and that's Mark Ingram, Ben Tate, and Branden Oliver. those are the three guys that I am not giving up under any circumstance because I think those are my three guys that I'm going to fucking carry into the playoffs, luck willing. The Hydes, the Smiths, the Niall Davises, and the Rainey's, I have varying amounts of love for all of them. And I think
why you should let me trade you Dwayne Allen and Kyrie Robinson for Kelsey and insert scrub here.
No.
Then you'd have Ingram and Kyrie. You don't care. You're like
I don't love Kyrie all that much to give up Kelsey for him or any of those running backs. I'll take any of those running backs over Kyrie Robinson.
I hear you.
Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I don't really like Kyrie. I told you I was using him this week as my last week. I mean, I'll probably end up going like my second running back is probably gonna be Lamar Miller at this point every week. But I got Sproles, Mathews, and Forsett that might come back. I mean, right. I would never drop Kyrie, but at this point he's probably gonna be like the guy that at the fifth or whatever man out. I would love to try to trade one of these guys for something, but it's like you get to a certain point with your team. If you have a good, you're never going to trade for a defense most of the time. But
no, I've been doing pickups every week.
Yeah, and you picked up the Steelers. I was a little bit annoyed that they did as well as they did.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways to pick up spot starts.
Of course. I mean, anyone that plays the Jaguars is almost always
right. Exactly. And more often weeks than not, they're teams that aren't sort of always captured, like the Cincinnati Bengals and the Seattle Seahawks of the world.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I have Seattle Seahawks, so I'm never going to spot start someone. I'm going to start Seattle every week and pray that they fucking dominate. I mean, that's all I can really do. I mean. Yeah, they haven't been doing what I wanted them to lately, but it is what it is.
And here's what goes on in my head as far as those three running backs. So New Orleans is on the bye this week, and then they play the Lions, the Packers, the Panthers. Lions is the week that Mark Ingram's supposed to come back. It's at the Lions, so I'm probably not going to start him. Obviously, that's probably going to change in the next 2 weeks. But then we've got Branden Oliver, who everyone knows that Ryan Mathews is still a few weeks away from coming back as well. And the Drones kid actually looked not too bad. The guy who's spelling Branden Oliver, which I probably definitely shouldn't have said to this kid, but.
Yeah, but you know what? That backfield's so fucked up right now. I'm saying if at this point if it's not Branden Oliver's job, then who the hell? I mean if.
So, and what it is for this is that next week, Branden Oliver plays the Raiders. The week after that, they play the Chiefs, and the week after that, they play the Broncos and the Dolphins. And then there's a bye between the Dolphins and the Raiders in the next game. So, if all things work out, I might have 4 straight games of Branden Oliver of a no sort of thought process start each week if, things, if he gets hurt, if he tweaks something and he can't really get out there and he just looks weird, then it's not good for him. But if he does what I expect him to do, he did this against a fucking top defense.
I'll give him that. That was what was really annoyed me about it, honestly.
That's the thing. So, he did this against a top defense, and I figured that...
I had Clark over here Clarkatized me. I was, ready to punch him, too, just so you know. The whole time it was going on, he's like... I don't know. He's just Clarking me. He's like, Jets have a good defense. They'll shut him down. And he's like, wow. And I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
When you're watching some games, don't you just see when it's one of those games that
he had fucking 50
not happening?
He had 50 and 50, and you just knew he was going to get 100.
Right.
There's just certain times where you just know the 100's coming. I told you Matt Ryan would get 3, and I knew Julio would get 100.
And I knew that.
I wasn't trying to jinx you at all when I said that. I
literally thought Demaryius Thomas getting 2. I wasn't jinxing you either.
No, and dude, when you said it, I believed it too. I honestly
one of those things where every one of those.
They started talking about the. I'm doing it completely different next year. I'm taking who I want when I want, and I'm not even going to give an F because honestly, I wish I just took. I didn't take Shady with the number 2 pick. I really wanted to take Marshawn Lynch number 2,
right.
And I know everyone would have laughed at me if I did that, and that's why I didn't. But I just knew I should have just traded down. Period. Overall, just said fuck it. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad. Yes, it's definitely something that people could make fun of you about. But I mean, I've done a lot of ads or draft guys that people laugh at the level that I pick them up, and they usually work out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a reason why I call it the back end Mike Turner 3rd round pick of the year.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting in the 8, 9, 10, there's always a running back or two out there that you can get in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round in the back end that no one is expecting to be a number 1, but he is. And Mike Turner did that for me. Javid Best did that for me. Priest Holmes did that for me. The list goes on and on.
Whenever we're ready to finish this, he sent a message earlier, Lap did, about something not being done, and I didn't see there.
Something about his players, Monday Night Rule players, not being done.
Everything, I thought.
Oh, and the last guy on my list was Ben Tate, who just got back from the bye, looked really, really good today, and he plays the Steelers, Jaguars, Raiders, Bucks for the next 4 weeks, and then he plays Bengals, Texans, Falcons, Bills, and then his playoffs are Colts, Bengals, Panthers. Don't love the Bengals there. Love the Panthers a little bit. I don't know what to think about the Colts at that position, but I'm okay with trotting those 3 out and figuring out what I'm going to do with the rest of my running backs, depending on if they blow up. I really love Antone Smith, and I want him to blow up, but I don't necessarily. I don't believe in Mike Smith at this point. They give Steven Jackson way too many fucking carries for me to believe that dude knows what he's doing. Sorry.
Huh.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of coaches I was talking about today about just do the craziest stuff, and
Wisenhunt is an idiot. He's not a good fucking head coach. He's a great offensive coordinator at times, but he's not a good fucking offensive. He's not a very good head coach. Mike Smith, I don't believe, is a very good head coach. Who's good and who's terrible?
Head coaches.
Andy Reid is good.
I think Andy Reid's real good. I have an argument with a guy, one of my better friends, that swears that he's just not that good. I try to say you're an idiot, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He swears that Chip Kelly's way better than him, but.
And that's eagle homerism. That's sort of what happens when you live in the place that has an NFL team. Everyone gets sort of put on a microscope, and either they're they're either superhuman or they're the worst dudes in the world. And Chip Kelly right now is the HC du jour, where they love him until they hate his guts.
I didn't realize that they put in Ridley. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Elgin's getting kind of beat down. I thought he had.
He told me to put him in, but I was and I sort of ignored it, but
Yeah, no, it's all good.
He told me to put him in, but so good head coaches. I think Pete Carroll is an actual good head coach. Never actually been a bad head coach in the NFL. Marvin Smith with Cincinnati. Do you think he's a good coach or a bad coach?
I'll be honest with you. I was having this conversation with our friend Brent. I think he is literally just a mediocre coach that's just been there for years. I wouldn't say he's bad, but he's just mediocre.
Did I say Marvin Smith? I meant Marvin Lewis.
I knew who you meant. The dude for Cincinnati is just a mediocre coach, honestly. We were sitting there he's not bad, but is he good? What has he done?
You know what he was? Well, thank you for setting me up for this fall. What he did was the 2001 fucking Ravens. He was the architect of the 2001 Ravens fucking defense.
Right.
But he didn't have to play. He literally ran into the fucking hurricane of all hurricanes and defensive individuals who were all fucking superstars, all playing together at once, doing something you'll only see once every 50 years. you remember how fun it was to watch the fucking 2001 Ravens defense play defense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
They were the only team that probably you've ever seen that when they scored 12 points or 9 points, you knew that the game was over. No, when they scored 12, you knew the game was over because the team they were playing were not going to be able to score a touchdown and a field goal and 2 field goals. No way were they going to score 2 touchdowns. No way were they going to score a touchdown and 2 field goals. So 12 points was all they ever needed, and that was fucking awesome. And they hit so fucking hard. And it keeps sticking on you, and you're just looking at it.
I'm gonna go back one more thing too. Like they're trying to take the hard hits out of the game, but that's really what drew me to the game. Like I remember, like watching people. You'd be like, "Oh my god, that hit!" And now they don't even want you to hit like that. So I don't know. NFL.
All right. Things are sort of. I think there's a poltergeist thing starting to crash around my house. So
it's all good. It's getting late. I gotta go to bed anyway.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Definitely.
Week 5, good game this week. No animosity whatsoever. I think
I was worried about the podcast. It would have been a better podcast had I lost. Honestly, I kind of was rooting for me to lose because I would have been more angry and irate. You were actually like very well mannered, which is shocking to me.
I was angry, but
no, I wouldn't have been mad at you, but I would have been very angry.
Yeah. Right,
I would have been animated, I guess would be a good way to put it.
That show got banned in like 53 countries. That's how we roll.
We're going to try not to put in as much music that is not ours. So
yeah. So on behalf of Jay Mills, FFB Pro at Twitter, Joe No, FFB Pro at Twitter, Keith, FFB Pro at Twitter. This has been Average Joe's podcast / video. Thanks.
Oh, see you on Thursday for probably a live show. So
see you on Thursday, and something else just crashed in my house.
Well, good luck with that, kid. And I don't know. I saw like a little ghost figure go behind you. So
it's like a ghost doll, fucking.
Yeah, Annabelle's like ding ding ding, Annabelle.
Annabelle. All right, man. Thanks for listening. Bye. Peace.